Good morning, everyone. We would just want to check and make sure that we can be heard in the Zoom webinar. Jake or Matthew?
We can hear you well on Zoom. Thank you very much.
Okay. Chair, we are ready to begin when you are.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that.
He doesn't want that. All right. All right. Looks like we're a little past, but good morning, everyone, and welcome to the December 13th Board of Supervisors meeting. As customary, we're going to start with a moment of silence, and I have two. I'm going to start first and foremost with a moment of silence for Kelly Kobetsky. Kelly Kobetsky was worked for the Law Library, and I'm also on the Law Library Board of Trustees, and so she was a valuable asset to that library. November 15th is when Kelly officially resigned as head law librarian. Kelly, she passed at 5 a.m. on Saturday morning, December 10th, with her family, surrounded by family, and during the last few days she had been comfortable resting in Lakeport, overlooking the beautiful Clear Lake, Mount Konocti, and sunrise, and she is now in Horse Meadow heaven, as they say, and we give our deepest condolences to her family, and we express gratitude for her dedication to the Law Library. I know also that the Law Library wants to conduct a proclamation possibly next week, and so we'll be looking towards that as well, but this is a moment's silence for her. And then I have another one for, let me pull it up real quick. This one is for Alyssa Marie Gomez. Alyssa has left I'll read it from the obituary. Has left this world, her spirit has traveled on. She was born on March 4th, 1996 to Michael Gomez and Marcelina Jack. She passed on Sunday, December 4th, and she was 26 years old. She lived her entire life on the Big Valley Rancheria and was an enrolled member of the tribe. She loved participating in sports, particularly volleyball, both in high school and on the native circuit. She graduated from Clear Lake. She has two children, Alina and Owen Fred. They were her biggest motivators, and she loved them more than life itself. She helped to provide support, love, and care for her niece, Nakia, who was also like a child to her. She is survived by her fiance, Jonathan Fred, parents Michael and Marcelina, brothers Michael Gomez, Nico Cazares, Matthew Smith, Michael Smith, Stephen Morgan, Andrew Gomez, sisters Mona Gomez, Vanessa Gomez, Jack, Deidre Lopez, and Feather Morgan and Mary Morgan. And so we would like to offer our condolences to the family and a moment of silence for both of them. Supervisor Sabatier, can you lead us in the pledge, please?
Ready? Begin. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Okay. Next is our consideration of extra items not appearing on the posted agenda. Are there any at this time? Supervisor Sabatier?
A response. I caught this last night, and I know that Sheriff Martin is busy with the Shop with the Cop this morning, but I'd like to pull for further clarification
Oh, we're talking about number 4.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we'll do that one next. But there's there's not an extra
No,
item that you want,
I
right?
apologize.
You sure?
Yeah, no, 100%,
Teasing.
100%. I'm here.
All right. So with that, we'll move on from 4 to 5, approval of the consent agenda. These are items that are commonly non-controversial. However, if there's anyone that wants to discuss further and feel it is something that needs to be pulled, either the board can do so or the public. And so what I'll do is, Supervisor Sabatier had one, so.
This time I'm in the right place. I'd like to pull item 5.15 for further discussion and clarification.
Okay, 5.15, is there any others? All right, I'll open it up to the public. Is there anyone from the public that would like to pull any consent agenda item? Come on, pull, okay. All right, so I'll bring it back to the board for potential, well, actually for action.
Mr. Chair, move to approve items 5.1 through 5.14 and 5.16 through 5.19.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion and a second. Ooh. All right, Johanna, can you conduct the roll call, please?
Supervisor Simon?
Yes.
Supervisor Sabatier?
Aye.
Supervisor Green?
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska?
Yes.
And Supervisor Crandall?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, motion carries. Let's move on to, let's see, where are we at, 9:08? So we have public input. Public input is an item if there's, for the public to come up and speak on an item that's possibly, or a discussion that's not on the agenda. Just know that we can't comment at this time on that. And we will either link you up with the supervisor that's in your district or staff or something along those lines to make sure that your issue is taken under consideration. So we'll go from there and see if there's anyone that has any public input. I'm looking online, not seeing any hands up, so I'll go ahead and bring it back to the board and move on to, since we're at 9:08 and our next is at 9:15, do you think that 5.15 will be good enough?
I think I would prefer Sheriff Martin be available unless we can get somebody from his office to look in. But there was a discrepancy between what the paperwork total was versus what the memo total was. And so I just wanted to kind of check in to make sure we're providing the right documentation for the financial aid.
I did send a text, so I'm waiting for a response. Oh, Mary Beth is on if you want to.
Will that suffice, or do you want to wait? Because I'd have to read off the agenda item, right?
I think she could let us know if we need to continue to wait after I submit my comments of what I'm concerned about on this item.
So let me read it real quick so that way we know we're addressing it. 5.15, approve the Department of Boating and Waterways 23-24 application for financial aid in the amount of $539,085.17 and authorize the sheriff to sign the application and chair to sign the resolution. And so with that, Supervisor Sabatier, go ahead.
And I'm wondering, Johanna, could we get Mary Beth Strong over in the panelists? Because I want to make sure she's even available. I see her there, but...
So just for your awareness, we've offered a couple times. I think she's joining as a panelist now.
Perfect.
Mary Beth is now in the Zoom room as a panelist.
So I'm looking at the 2324 on the memo, and in the agenda, it states that in the amount of $539,085.17. And when you look at the resolution, it says for 2324 that it's for $315,312. And I'm looking for that number within the rest of the details on one of the attachments further on down where it talks about the prior year taxes and all that. And I find the $539,85.17, but I cannot find the $312. And I want to make sure we sign the appropriate resolution, so we're asking for the right amount of money. And wondering if that's something that we need to correct or if it is correct.
I'm sorry, I didn't have a microphone connected. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, the application itself was for the 539,000. What the state is approving is the 315,000 as reflected in the resolution. The balance is the boat taxes, which are not reflected in what the state approved. So that is why there is a difference between the application and what the resolution says.
And that's perfect explanation. I just needed to ask, as I did not have the a response because I checked in a little too late on that. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
So we can move forward? All right. Any other comments from the board on this item? You sure?
Yep.
Just teasing. We'll go ahead and open it up to the public. Is there
3
anyone?
more minutes.
Yeah.
That's exactly, how did you know?
Just cutting into it.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and open it up to the public. If there's anyone from the public that'd like to speak on item 5.15, that was pulled from the consent agenda for a boating and waterways application for financial aid in the amount of $539,085.17 for the sheriff to sign and myself if it's approved. Nope, nobody from the public. I'll look online. I don't see anybody on Zoom raising their hands. I see a lot of people, but not a lot of hands up, so we'll go from there and bring it back to the board for action. I don't think I can stall it any further.
Mr. Chair, I offer the resolution.
Resolution has been offered.
Okay, Supervisor Simon,
Yes.
Supervisor Sabatier,
Aye.
Supervisor Green,
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska,
Yes.
and Supervisor Crandall.
Yes.
Thanks.
All right, it's been passed. All right, excellent. So let's see where we're at from here. We are at 9:13. Our next item is at 9:15. Let's see. I don't think anything else can take any type of time from that. So last time I did calendars before, we went way far behind, so I'm not going to do that. So take a slight what they say at stand fast. That's what they say in the Army, stand fast. Because I know if I take a break, we won't be back till like 9:25.
May I, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I hope everybody is taking the time to enjoy where we live here in Lake County. It is absolutely gorgeous out there. But while being gorgeous, it's also a little hazardous, so please drive safely. I still see people driving like it's summertime out there. So please enjoy the scenery. My drive from Clear Lake to Lakeport was absolutely amazing. I was talking about it this morning. I know I live here and I see it every day, but I still get awestruck by the beauty of the place that we live in. So I hope everybody is enjoying this type of weather that we're having. Apologize for those who lose electricity during these times of weather, but there's definitely beauty within all the experiences that we're having here. So please be safe out there and definitely enjoy the scenery. We are blessed.
Power outages are expected in the winter.
It's a part of the deal.
That's part of the deal.
Does it come into disclosure with the agreements?
Yeah, when you move to the mountain, you need a truck, a chainsaw, and a generator.
I like old school hand saws. No, I don't. All right, it looks like we are at 9:15, and thank you for that, Supervisor Sabatier. We will move on to 6.2, discussion and consideration of resolution declaring the intention to renew the Lake County Tourism Improvement District and establishing the time and place of a public meeting and public hearing. And with that, Susan, I know that we also have a representative from the TID here as well, so.
Yes, please come forward, Brian. This morning, we have Brian Fisher, who's the Executive Director of the Lake County Tourism Improvement District, and we also have on Zoom Emily Brown from Civitas.
Emily, are you there?
Have we?
You want to speak in the microphone? Oh. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Emily, are you there?
Hi, good morning. Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect. Yeah, thanks, Emily. I just wanted to make sure you're in there.
If you wanted to come up, you can.
Could you pull, Sam,
He likes standing there.
our document up there?
Brian, do you want to come sit?
Yeah, you could sit up here if you'd like, unless you're
Table?
Yeah, it's
comfortable
all right.
there.
I'm just going to move this out of the way because you can't really get to the
I just remembered last time you liked being right there, so.
I know, I'm a stander. So I wanted to take you just through a really quick, short deck. Supervisor Sabatier, you mentioned how beautiful it is in Lake County, and that photograph was taken last month by Karen Pavoni from Lejour, and I think that kind of certainly encapsulates exactly what you said. It's like crazy beautiful out there right now. So as most of you know, the Tourism Improvement District was created and formed on December 2018 is when we actually seated our board down at Twin Pine Casino. And we were seated for 5 years was the term on the district. The district can only be formed the first time you form a tourism improvement district for 5 years. So we are looking at this district sunsetting this next December in 2023. So we decided to go out on the renewal process this year. We knew it would be a long process, and so that's where we're at. I wanted to, if you go to the next slide there, Sam, just give you a little brief update really on what we've accomplished in the last 4 years. We're pretty proud of where we are. In 2019, we had very little funds. To start, we had a $25,000 grant from Visit California that we put to good use and did a brand study and looked at who visited Lake County through credit card data from all of our partners to come up with our targets and who are we going to be talking to, creating our brand voice. So in a year when we were really kind of just building, we built that brand architecture. We listened to a lot of people in the county. We brought a lot of people together to talk about what the county meant to them, what brought them here. So brand architecture is really what we feel like we accomplished in our very first year. Moving into 2020, we were getting ready to launch in March with our first advertising campaign. I think it was March 15th, and as we all know, the world shut down. And we decided that was, we'd go week to week, month to month. Well, we went year to year. So we worked on social media growth. It was a really soft category for us to be able to working on. Most destination marketing organizations really shifted into just kind of soft advertising at that point. And Karen and the group grew our Facebook followers by over 120% in 1 year alone. So we really grew kind of a very, very important audience. As we know, social media is how a lot of people communicate and share and get ideas. So social media growth is what we would say we feel we accomplished in 2020. We kind of put those plans for advertising on the back burner, and in 2021, the spring, we rolled out plans that were very different from the first plans that we had. We went with billboards in both Bay Area and the Sacramento Valley. We wanted to really create positive impressions for Lake County. Talk about some of the things and show some of the things that make us look really clearly different. We had a lot of positive feedback, over 16 million impressions that those very key billboards created for us, and really felt that was the thing for us to be doing at the time. And then moving into 2022, we really felt the need to have something tactile. So we created our map, which was wholly funded by advertising, which shows where to go in Lake County, gives that total look at Lake County. As we know, the Chamber no longer published the magazine that they'd been publishing, and so we wanted something to be out there for people to be able to hand to folks. And the maps then are also distributed all up and down the I-5 corridor. As we know, we're a very big drive market here in Lake County, so 65,000 maps outside of the county trying to do the good work of getting people into the county. We also initiated a book direct widget on our website, which is, if you're looking at a sales funnel, the top of the funnel, you've got your brand architecture, your brand advertising. You move down a little further, you create interest, you've got a website, and then a little further down from that, towards the bottom of that funnel, where you get people closer, is a widget that actually lets them look at what's available during a time frame when they're coming to Lake County. And so we've been watching that widget on a month-to-month basis. We started it in May of last year, and it's done very, very well for us. It's a really good indicator of what people are looking at and what interest is there. It also gives us some data to share with our stakeholders. So the booking widget has been key as well. And then as you look at the bar chart, the blue chart all the way across there shows the unique visitors to our website starting in 2018, a little over 6,000 unique visitors. In this past year, 2021, we were over about 86,000 unique visitors coming to the Visit Lake County website. So feeling that is a very good indication that our efforts are working for us. So that's a little bit of a summary of what we're doing. The next slide will show you the renewal district overview. So the term of the new district is going to be for 10 years. When you create these districts after the first district, you can go for 10 years. So it'll be 2024 to 2023. The assessment, we went out with an assessment of 3% on the renewal to all of our stakeholders. Over 174 stakeholders received a petition requesting a 3%. We found in the process that we were not going to be able to get the 3%, and we needed to negotiate down from there. And we settled to everybody's liking at 2.5%. So that will be the assessment beginning in January of 2024 when this district renews. That assessment will give us about a $386,000 budget. 75% of it, is you can see up there, is going to be into sales and marketing. 20% into operations. We have to have a reserve contingency fee. Will be a little over $11,000, and then we need to pay both the county and the cities for collecting those fees. It gives you an idea of kind of where that budget is, but as you can see, the vast majority, over 75% of those dollars are going to go outside of county to create positive impressions and to get people into Lake County, into our stakeholders, hotels and lodging. And then last but not least, I want to just show you that next slide. We needed over 50%. We're at 50.88%. One more slide. That's okay.
You're not being seen on TV.
That's okay. So that is the stakeholder support at this point. And then I wanted to show you kind of a list of some of these major brands and major companies in Lake County that have chosen to support the district. Everything from the Best Western, El Grande in Clear Lake, the Super 8 in Upper Lake, Skylark Shores here in Lakeport, Anchorage Inn in Lakeport, Boutique up on Red Hills, the mountain, Bed and Barrel Stonehouse out there in Clear Lake Oaks, Mandala Springs from Cobb. So a really nice listing of folks who have agreed to continue to support the district, and we hope that we can continue to support the district at the Board of Supervisor level as well. So with that, we wanted to take some questions. Emily is our project manager from Civitas, who has been helping us through this process. She's a wealth of information in terms of renewing these districts. They're very legal, and there are a lot of steps that you have to take, and we are trying to take them as wisely and as smart as we can, but that's where we're at. So would love to open up for questions on the renewal of the Tourism Improvement District.
Supervisor Pyska?
Well, I want to thank you for your hustle. This was a lot of work to get to this point, and a lot of communicating with all of the stakeholders and members, so really appreciate you doing that, Brian, and everybody else that was part of that. This is really important work, and it's important to keep the TID intact and moving forward for the next 10 years, so thank you so much. I know you guys did a lot. And I just want to call attention to the budget. That doesn't include any of the new rooms coming online and the forecasting. What does that look like in the next couple of years? Because I know we've got, and sorry I didn't front load you with this question, but it is something that we've talked about at the TID meetings. What does that look like for the budget as we have several new projects coming online in probably the next 2-3 years?
Yeah, well, we're super encouraged. I mean, in the 4 years that we've been in existence, we haven't added a single hotel room in the county of Lake, and we probably won't really until next spring. But with Hotopia opening up down in Six Sigma on the land lease deal that they did there. That's extremely encouraging. I believe they're around $120 a night, and I believe they have 2-night minimums. It's still TBD in terms of what their numbers are, so I haven't really tried to extrapolate there, but all in all, we're going to have probably 80 brand-new hotel rooms, i.e. glamping units, on the market by March or April or May. I've actually been down there and met with Kai and seen the project, and it's moving along really nicely. Their head of construction is on site, and they are building the roads and everything they need in there. So that's super encouraging. It's very hard, again, with Canate Harbor, but I just yesterday built a listing for their New Year's Eve party on our website. So we're seeing movement. We're seeing movement, rumblings. I know they've got a block of rooms that I believe the Lakeport Rotary has booked in early May. So it looks like by early spring, they should be up and online as well. So super encouraged by that. And then we've got projects in Clear Lake that I don't know that they've broken ground yet, but we think that, you know, the number will continue to grow in a great way. We look at you know, I look at my partners or my counterparts jealously because I look over at Visit Mendocino, and I can't even tell you the number of hotel rooms that were added in the last 4 years in just Ukiah alone. So that's how these districts are meant to build and to create the momentum, and I think that we're nicely set up for that. So I don't have any specific numbers for you, but we're feeling very encouraged by it. So
Great.
yeah.
Thanks. And then the other question I have is is in the resolution where it still says 3%. Okay.
And Emily, you can speak to that, please.
Yeah, thank you, Brian, and good morning, members of the board. As Brian mentioned, I'm Emily Brown, a project manager with Civitas, and we specialize in the formation of improvement districts. And so to answer your question, yes, it does still say 3% in the resolution. The Property and Business Improvement District Law of 1994 that the district is formed under, it essentially says that the signed petitions in the petition drive are signing on to the specific management district plan that we had when the petition drive began. So in this case, that's the plan dated September 8th, and that had the initial rate at 3%. Once we start collecting petitions, we can't make any changes to the plan. And so as Brian mentioned, as we worked our way through the petition drive, we learned we had a little more support at the 2.5% assessment rate. And section 36624 of the 94 law allows for the proposed assessment to be revised only by reducing and only at the final hearing. So that's what we intend to do. So all the documents at this time, they do still say 3%, but our intent is at the final hearing to present the revised management district plan, which I think is the one that you should have in your packet. That's the one dated December 7th, and that one has the updated assessment rate at 2.5%.
Great. Thank you for clarifying that.
Of course.
Supervisor Sabatier?
Thank you for bringing this to us. I think if we had Highway 101 or I-5, we would see the same type of productivity that Ukiah is seeing. So this is important work because we have to go out of our way to make things happen. And I appreciate what the TID has done so far. You've taken my question already, so I'm glad to have that clarification because there was a little confusion. If you had shared the old management plan that said 3%, then it would make more sense, but with the 2.5 in the December 7th plan and with the resolution not matching, that was confusing, but thank you again for that explanation. I do want to add one thing. It's something that I've stated before, and I just want to keep highlighting it, and I think it's not easy. But it's something that's important to me. And the word of the day is equity. Every hotel throughout the entire county or every lodge, everywhere that there's lodging available is going to contribute to this TID. And I just want to make sure that there's equity in the advertising for around the lake and not very specific focused advertising on specific areas of the lake. I know that's one thing that I noticed before. Again, not easy. But if we can get that to happen, that's going to get more of those hoteliers to want to say yes to 10 years later wanting to continue this TID. And I know that there was obviously the need for negotiations, hence why I bring that up as well. And then continuing with the word equity, want to continue to push for equity imagery for what is being shown to our, I think your main bases were the Bay Area and Sacramento area. That's a very diverse crowd. Want to make sure that our imagery is as diverse as those crowds over there, those populations over there, so that we can attract as many people to come here and join the adventure. And I appreciate the logo, appreciate the motto, everything about it I think is great. It's a great start. I want this to keep going.
Thank you.
Supervisor Green?
Yeah, thank you. Help is on the way, and Lake Fort's going to do its part. I don't have the number of hotel rooms, maybe Wilda does, but we do have a hub project coming online, and probably the first development in that will be a hotel. So help is on the way on that. Probably won't be next year, but 2020, as soon as 2024, if it goes on track, I assume some of those may come online. Really appreciate the website, looking great. Question on the newsletter sign up. So in terms of the funnels, getting those newsletter captures hugely important, because then you can mark it out again and again to them. So how's the newsletter doing, and what kind of conversions are you seeing out of that?
Yeah, newsletter continues to grow nicely. Actually, we have to start paying more through our email provider because we passed the 10,000 mark. So we've got a lot of newsletter signups. Principally, they're coming through our advertising we did with Visit California. We had 2 ads that we ran in their guidebooks and their destination books. And so we receive a lot of requests for information from those 2 sources. They also provide some of our best traffic. We always see after we drop our email, we always see the spike in traffic to our website for the month. So we know they're engaged. We also know that those folks spend a lot of time on our website. When we send out the email, they come in and they'll spend 3-4 minutes on the website, whereas the typical person coming in from possibly social media advertising will spend maybe less than a minute. So they're valuable to us. We're going to continue to work on them. Creating the newsletters is hard. I mean, we sit down with our agency every month and we scratch our head, okay, what are we going to do? So we're always working on some new angles and stealing ideas, because nothing is actually, it's a newsletter. You don't have to reinvent yourself every time. But we're trying to stay fresh with it and trying to stay current. This time of year it gets really hard. Things really slow down. We just slow down with activities and things that happen. It's very much our off season. So.
Well, I just signed up for your newsletter. If you go to lakecounty.com, that's lakecounty.com, how you landed that, Earl, like kudos just for that. I'm going to renew you just on landing that domain. So thank you for all the hard work.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Green.
Supervisor Simon?
Yeah, I want to thank you again for coming back, and obviously looking at the long-term vision here the next 10 years. It's great to hear the projects that are going to be happening. Obviously, from day one, support this project, telling our story. It's great to go on the website and to look at those things and to continue that growth. I appreciate the equality conversation, as we're moving through that, because, we've established, Lake County is what it is, an agricultural industry, the tourism area. We need to build the hotel rooms. They're coming. Yep. To continue that growth. But also, just what we talk about is the cultural experience that's been here for thousands of years with our tribal nations and other stuff. Obviously all cultures that are here in Lake County, but really pushing on those things as we move forward to continue those conversations. I appreciate the TIDs reaching out to the tribes also as we got started with all these, the agreements that happened there. So, from my point of view, money well spent. We've attempted in the past to do different things, but I think now with this focused vision that we have going forward and everybody buying in, it's going to pay off. It may take some time, but we're going to continue getting that growth. So yeah, thank you. I'm in complete support of moving forward with this resolution to continue.
Great.
Go ahead.
One other thing. One thing that hits me. With the Cawberry Council and their Explore Cobb marketing campaign, it was something that they've been trying to put together for the past couple of years is, what's the snow program? We have people that come up here, it's a much shorter drive, and there's a lot of opportunities to go up in District 3 and kind of do some pre-planning on what that looks like for when we do expect storms. And we get a lot of people coming up, and they don't know where to go, and they don't know what to do. And so kind of looking at the historical places where people can go, where it's legal for people to go, and where people can warm up with hot chocolate or something like that is a nice little program to put together for the winter months.
Sounds like a newsletter for me.
Just giving you some ideas.
Where to go?
Supervisor Sabah.
Yeah, two questions. It was brought up, the relationship between the TID and the local tribes that we have. Has there been conversations about increasing their contribution to 2.5? I know that there's, I believe, 2 tribes that said yes to contributing with the 1.5. Just kind of curious if that conversation has begun, if there's been approvals, anything.
You know, we haven't begun those discussions yet.
Okay.
Those will take place this year for sure.
Okay.
But both of our tribes have been wonderful partners, great partners all the way around, and we're still working on the big band down here in Kelseyville. We still don't have any sort of formal partnership with them after discussions. I know they've gone through a bunch of changes, but I was just talking about that with my finance person about what we can do to maybe engage there. I think there's some new folks, new faces there, so we're going to go back there and see if we can't get them to also join the effort, because they're super valuable. And you know, we're at this point where we need to decide how do we support folks who don't support us. What do we do? So we're having that discussion. It's actually on our agenda for next month.
Yeah, and I love that Robinson Rancheria and Middletown Rancheria have joined the cause. I think that's an amazing, because we all, what is it, all tides raise all boats, or the rise of tides raise all boats, something like that. And I think that we're all in this together, and we're all going to help each other make it and do better. My second question to you is, the TID has approached us before with requests for funding, which we've done because we support the TID. Within the budget that you have, is that solely budgeting based on the TID collection that you have, or is that still with the idea of approaching the board with additional requests?
The budget that you saw there is only including TID collections. It doesn't have anything to do with the TOT that you as a board contribute to us. So we will still be asking, obviously, for that ask. This just gets us started, and we've seen from other counties. I was just at a big our biannual meeting with Del Norte, Humboldt, and Visit and Mendocino, and they all have those types of agreements. Their agreements are more in writing, which is, I think, would be where we would like to go, so that we could really understand exactly what the funding is. So as we increase TOT for the county, is it a set amount, is it a percentage amount? Mendocino works off a percentage. Both Del Norte and Humboldt work off of a set amount. So it's typical. I will say it was one of the areas with my stakeholders that I received a lot of questions about where TOT went. The feeling was pretty mutual across the board that the either 9% they're paying countywide or 9.5% in Clear Lake. It's a hot issue with them. So I was very clear in saying that we were receiving, in this case this year and last year, $78,000, so that they understand that some of it does get returned to marketing. And I do think that's important. I mean, that's exactly what TOT was set up to market a county. And I know it's changed over the years. But so we'll be coming back with an ask. It'd be great, like I said, if we had something that was just, so we didn't have to go through the dance every time. And maybe it is just the 78, and that's fine. But the easiest part would be to know, what kind of skin in the game TOT has versus what we're going to be collecting. Because it's our goal, obviously, to raise that number. And not just raise it by number, not just raising it by the number of hotel rooms, but getting a higher rate, getting 2-night minimums, creating a lot more demand for our products than we had maybe 5 years ago. So.
And just to clarify, I believe it was $376,000 or something like that you showed for your budget. Again, that's only the TID collected at the 2.5%. And you're saying that there's nothing written as in like a continued agreement annually where we provide a specific amount, you come and make an ask. And I get that it would help you predict how you can move forward and project into the future on what your decisions are if there's something more predictable. So appreciate appreciate the clarification.
We're making media plans 6 and sometimes 8 months in advance, and you really need to know what you've got in your budget. Which brings me to my final comment. It's going to be a slim year for Lake County's advertising, and the renewal took a lot of steam out of our engine. It was over $55,000 to renew the district. So we're looking at, we're not going to be able to do a lot of big top of the funnel stuff in 2023, unfortunately. We just don't have the resources. We keep looking at the numbers and turning them and looking at the numbers and turning them, but it's just not going to be there. We're going to have to really focus on search and social, and we're going to move further down the funnel and really lean heavier on our booking widget. And to your point, Supervisor Sabatier, we want to start featuring more properties in Lake County. We had to feature this year what we had in terms of our asset bank. We'd already gone over and shot some spots and shot certain locations. We have to use very good photography. We can't put stuff out there that's not really top of the line. So we're going to focus, and I've talked with the agency about focusing our social efforts on really getting people to that booking widget. And we're going to look at different properties. We may categorize properties. Maybe it's lake properties. Maybe it's pet-friendly properties. Maybe it's vineyard properties, ag stays. But we want to kind of break it down and focus a little bit more so that we have some of that really important data also for stakeholders, because that became very clear through the process as well of renewal. And that's what I have for everybody.
Thank you, Brian. I just want to say, when I first came onto the board in 2019, I was part of the TID group, and it was you could see the difference in it, and I appreciate all the work that's been put in and all of the different initiatives, seeing different signs down in the Bay Area, and just a more vast amount of different marketing, output. So different pictures, different, cultures, things like that. Appreciative. It's really great. It shows a better, a more vast diversity in our county, and that's great that we're looking that way. So, yeah. Anything else? Open it up to the public. Is there anybody in the public that'd like to speak on this item? All right, so I'll bring it back to the board, and I think we have the resolution.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I offer the resolution.
Resolution has been offered.
Supervisor Simon.
Aye.
Supervisor Sabatier.
Aye.
Supervisor Green.
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska.
Yes.
And Supervisor Crandall.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries, and go ahead.
Can I ask one last question? When we do the final hearing, are we the ones that approve the change to 2.5, or how does that work?
I believe that's how it is, Emily.
Yes, that's correct. So we'll just ask the approval to adopt the updated management district plan with the updated assessment.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. All right, so our next timed item is at 10. Which one would probably be ideal? You think they'll both take longer than 15 minutes? And not both, but maybe just one, or,
I would say one.
which one?
Why don't we try for 7.3?
7.3? All right, so we'll move on to 7.3, public review and approval of the County of Lake Homeless Housing Assistance and Prevention, HAP, Round 4 application. And let's see, Todd Metcalf, this is his item from Behavioral Health Services, and I see he's online, so I'll give the floor to you, Todd.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Board. My apologies for not being there. I didn't think this item would be heard until this afternoon, so caught me a little off guard. I'm actually going to be turning this item over to Scott Abbott, our Mental Health Services Act Housing Program Manager, as he has been instrumental in getting this in front of your board. And so I'm hoping he's zoomed in here somewhere. Not seeing him yet.
For your awareness, Mr. Abbott is not present in the Zoom room right now.
Okay, I need to get a hold of him. Can we pause for a moment and I'll text him?
I suppose, yes. Unless you think we need to come back later, we can do that.
I'd really like to, because we do have a little bit of a presentation, I'd really like to have him present when we review this item. So if it's not too much trouble, we could come back later.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll come back to this item later, and we'll see, we'll just have to tune in and make sure, because this could, we have a hard stop at 11, and then we have an appeal as well, so, yeah.
Yes, no, that's why I'm tuned in right now.
Excellent. Thank you, Todd. So with that, we'll hold that one off. Do you think the other one would take longer? Because we could just take a break.
We could just do 7.2.
Yeah, I think.
7.2?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do 7.2, sitting as the Lake County Watershed Protection District, consider and discuss $5,000 financial commitment to the Risk Reduction Authority, and Supervisor Vice Chair Pyska.
So, as everybody is aware, we've been building the Risk Reduction Authority over the past couple of years and expanding the number of voting seats, which we did over a year ago, inviting our tribal nations to have a seat. Originally, it was just the fire district, so our tribal nations, both of our cities, and our water purveyors, each collectively, or each group has a vote when we have our meetings. And to build sustainability into the Risk Reduction Authority, we have been trying to figure out how much each vote should contribute to the annual budget. And so this has been a conversation we've been having for a long, long time. And at our Risk Reduction Authority last month, it was decided that each vote should contribute $5,000. So the fire districts will split that $5,000. The tribal nations will split that $5,000 and contribute. And each of the cities is contributing $5,000. And the question came, Supervisor Simon and I we represent, or his seat is the Board of Supervisors, my seat is the Watershed Protection District. And we were splitting the $5,000 for the board seat out of our discretionary fund with cannabis money. But then the question came up, what about the Watershed Protection District? And it was something we actually hadn't thought about. And so everybody agreed that, yes, the Watershed Protection District should also contribute because they have a vote, and that's my seat. So our next Risk Reduction Authority meeting is next week, and we wanted to show our commitment and our investment, and I wanted to make sure that I brought this to our board before the meeting, because we know all of our other stakeholders are out trying to meet this commitment as well. So that our admin was really supportive through this whole budgeting process, and Stephen Carter was really helpful, and he has suggestions on where that $5,000 should come from.
All right, go ahead, Supervisor
Yeah,
Simon.
I just wanted to follow up. These are continuing conversations as we're building the Lake County Risk Reduction Authority, and we will be doing a presentation after the first of the year, the accomplishments, to really look at the numbers of what's been brought in, through all the organizations participating here to the county, but just the benefits as we move forward. The one thing, as you know, it's always the budgeting and the admin costs are always a challenge, whatever board we set on. I know when different boards are set, we're looking at, how do we cover those things, whether it's audits or other things that just need to happen as you're moving on with these, the JPA as we are and growing it. So, yeah, it was brought up. It wasn't something we were thinking about, the Watershed Protection District with the 2 seats. It was brought up at the meeting, and we felt like, yeah, we need to have that discussion with the board. So appreciate the conversation today, as we move forward. Completely support whatever the board decides, but hopefully we will, as a unit, as a board, make this decision, help us move forward. So these are tough conversations, when we talk about the water districts, having a vote at the seat and what they can contribute. We just want to make sure that as we're growing into that process, that everyone has some skin in the game, and this is the way to do it, I think. So appreciate the conversation today.
All right, Stephen, go ahead.
Good morning, Board. Stephen Carter, Assistant CAO. The only thing I wanted to add was related to where the funding would potentially come from. It has not been budgeted for this year, and this would be kind of blindsiding the Watershed Protection District. So during mid-year, my proposal would be to either utilize some of our general fund carryover or some of the cannabis tax revenue, which Water Resources is one of the eligible activities,
Right.
to pay for this year while we figure out how we would pay for it ongoing as our contribution.
Supervisor Sabatier?
Thank you very much for bringing this. I think this is the fair way to do it, and I think this is exactly how you create sustainability within any JPA, is that the members provide funding to keep it going. That's the way that most JPAs I'm aware of continue to do the work, and this is a great step forward. I do have a question about, because there's a number of water districts, there's a number of tribes. Is everyone equally shared? No, there's one vote each, I get that, but there's a number of what that vote represents, how many voices it represents. Is there, how is that work of who's contributing to make up that 5,000? Is that nothing for us to worry about, but just kind of curious what the process might be?
They're going back to their stakeholders. And the one that, is difficult is the water purveyors, because they're not for profit, and $5,000 split among many water purveyors, it could be as little as a few $100,000, or if some of them can't contribute, it could be $1,000. We don't know what that looks like. We are working on an opportunity for assistance for them for this first year. Because it being mid-year and not being planned for, and we don't want to cause hurt there. But we also want to be very real about how members, this might be a pinch, this might be hard, but how do we find other ways to keep doing the work and to keep them part of it? So there are some other conversations happening, but ultimately today for this board, we just need to be concerned about our contribution.
Okay. And my concern was more of our contribution today may not equate, because you said that there's a loss of $24,000 that you need to make up, hence the contributions within your budget that you needed to make up $24,000 or something, if I remember the number correctly, something along those lines. And I just wanted to make sure that all the other members were able to come together and be able to actually make their contributions. I didn't know if it was done. I didn't know if it was still in conversation.
No, they are out hustling and doing the work. We provided them with a budget and a letter, and the day that we took the vote and had the conversation, all of the members felt confident, with the exception of the water purveyors, but we've got some other things that we're working on with them. But the cities felt confident, the tribes felt confident, the fire districts felt confident. So we will see what happens. But I really wanted to come in with our commitment right away with no time lost.
Yeah, no, and I think the commitment is needed because it's the fair way, equal amount for equal votes. There was one question. This doesn't change my vote today, but it's something, if you're going to come back in January or when approximately that date to do a full review, in your letter that was from the RRA, it talks about the
grant funds?
It talks about, I'm sorry, I don't have it right in front of me, but it talks about the use of county staff. I forget where it says it specifically, where it says the county contribution and staff time. And I'm hoping that in January that can be explained a little bit better, because I know NCO is supposed to be the lead agency, and I'd like to know where's that gray line and where's that line in the sand of what is NCO supposed to handle and what are we asking, because I'm not clear on what we're asking our staff, nor do I believe that we've approved for staff to take on. I don't know what they're taking on. And so I'd like to get a little bit more detail when that comes in January so I can better understand how that flow works and what's being utilized.
Well, I can speak for Stephen has been supporting with the budget and kind of acting as our treasurer because the funds are held with the county. So that's probably the biggest piece. Would you?
No, but I appreciate those questions so we can incorporate that in our follow-up and make sure that we have that. We're still in that transition period, like we said, growing the JPA. I participate on another JPA that the county's in that went through a growth process in the same manner, the Workforce Alliance in North Bay, and now it's kind of separated, has its own executive officer and those types of things. But during that growth period, it was supported by Napa County did a lot of that, kind of that gray area stuff. So appreciate the questions so that we can have that clarified for the board when we come back to really look at that. And hopefully, as we move through with the growth, the plan is that separation will happen over the next couple of years. That is the plan. But we will have more information on that for you, Bruno.
Okay.
I appreciate knowing that now, besides at the hearing, or at our update, so we can get those answers, get those lines clearly drawn and move that forward. And this has been a big conversation since the CMAT process, Community Mitigation Assessment Team, the only one that had ever been done in California, came through, said, we've got to move through these processes. So setting the amount now going forward, the $5,000 amount obviously is the minimum, that if someone wants to contribute more, they have the opportunity to do that. And that may happen with some of our partners as we move through that are on the board. But setting this amount now, it's something that we've been working on since the inception to say, all right, hey, everybody's got to contribute, not just the county. I truly believe in this, so I do use some of my cannabis funds. So does Supervisor Pyska, because it's such an important thing that we move forward. And, glad to have that conversation done and set at this point to move forward so that we always have that operating budget that we're going to move forward with to just continue on year to year. One less thing that we're taking steps forward to address on a yearly basis to just be successful with this organization. So appreciate the conversations. Small baby steps, but they are steps forward.
I appreciate that. And if I may finish, today is important. It sets a tone for sustainability, and so absolutely happy to say yes today to this. My last thing is, it speaks a lot about different grants that haven't gone through the RRA specifically as in its own accounts. And I know that within every grant, there's an administrative portion that goes to the grant recipient, and I'm hoping that in the future that can help rebalance the budget for the RRA, where NCO receives the grant through the RRA and not directly into NCO, because as the lead agency receive a grant that the RRA has discussed and kind of prepped for, seems like it's gone around the system and not sure if their administrative fees that they're taking out of the grant supports part of the RRA, not the entirety of it, or if it's gone completely to NCO and the RRA is still left looking for how to fund and how to keep it going. It's one of those things. And again, my one thing that I'm looking at is our APC. Davy Bates and Associates doesn't go after grants on its own. Once we talk about it in the APC, it goes through the APC and it gets Davy Bates and Associates gets reimbursed for the work that they do. And I know that we had granted again, and the formation is still happening, that we had a $20 million grant for the home hardening, which is awesome, but it's to the side of the RRA, even though the discussion started and we're committed to through the RRA. And so hopefully in the future, those things can go through the RRA so that it can complement the budget in making sure that the administrative fees can help support NCO's work that's needed for the RRA?
Well, not, so we discuss grant opportunities, and we support grant opportunities at the RRA. But most of these grants are outside of the Risk Reduction Authority. And the NCO did write the grant for the Fire Safe Council, and that has been supporting the Risk Reduction Authority. That is supporting a lot of the hours from NCO. But the other grants are separate, and like the home hardening grant is a FEMA grant. The guidelines are very strict. And so that, that's operating, the county was chosen for that as a pilot program. And the county didn't have a way to facilitate that grant and to build that up. So that's why NCO is working on the home hardening grant. It is separate from the Risk Reduction Authority. So when you see this $14 million of grants, that's because we have a best fits grant meeting once a month, and all of our stakeholders come together and we decide who should go after this grant, who's going to go after that grant. Okay, you're going after that grant, let's all write support letters. So that grant money comes because of the collaboration, but it doesn't come through the Risk Reduction Authority. So what we are trying to do is figure out the grants that will support the work ongoing and build up the budget for the Risk Reduction Authority. But we haven't quite gotten that right fit yet that will directly support the risk reduction.
And just two final comments on that.
2 comments ago, you said it was the final comment.
Yeah.
I would check conflict of interest of having a lead agency work on a best fits grant and then receiving the grant on their own. To me, there's a potential conflict there, and maybe I'm wrong. And number 2, I'd like more explanation, again, if possible, in January to explain home hardening, because the County of Lake never approved of the grant, but
Well, the grant hasn't been approved.
I thought that it was already approved by the state. Because I remember seeing a press release saying county approves of home hardening.
I think we're getting in the weeds a little bit
But
on that one, and we will have an update because there will be updates in January, February on that.
And that's what I'm asking is for an update. It's in the letter that's written to us, and it writes a lot about some of the things the RRA has done, which seems to have gone around the RRA versus through the RRA. So that was my questions. But I'll leave it at that.
So we'll work with, obviously, as we move forward to bring that back. We appreciate these conversations, Bruno, and we'll work on having some answers for you for clarification. So I know always conversating too with the CAO as we're moving forward. We'll get the information on the home hardening grants and those types of things. I think ultimately, as Supervisor Pyska said, it's the collaboration effort that's happening here to focus on things. So we'll look to get those clarifying answers for you.
Thank you.
Despite my comment, those are very good points, so. All right, so I'll open it up to the public for, I'm sorry, Ms. Grant.
Oh, thank you. You may also, as you're going through this, look at some type of protocols, procedures that flesh all of this out so that it's very clear who's doing what for what purpose. I think that'll save you a lot of time in the long run.
Okay, thank you.
That sounds good. All right, so open it up to the public for any comments on this item. It's 7.2, and I'll bring it back to Zoom. I don't see anybody in Zoom that has any comments, so with that, we'll bring it back to the board. For action.
Sorry. Yeah, let me, action, it's a motion. Okay. Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the $5,000 financial commitment to the Risk Reduction Authority for the seat of the Watershed Protection District.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Johanna, please conduct a roll call.
Supervisor Simon?
Yes.
Supervisor Sabatier?
Aye.
Supervisor Green?
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska?
Yes.
And Supervisor Crandall?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, motion carries, and 7.2 is complete. You know what we're going to do is take a short break because I feel the next 2 items are going to be, actually 3 are going to take us pretty far in. So we'll take that break briefly, come back at 10:10 and go from there. All right. Welcome back from our break. We will move on to our 6.3, sitting as the Lake County Sanitation District Board of Directors, second reading, consideration of an ordinance increasing sewer use fees for all properties that discharge to the Middletown Wastewater Treatment Plant, excluding Anderson Springs. And with that, we will give the floor to Scott Harder, our Special Districts Director.
Administrator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board.
Sorry.
So before you today, as the chair mentioned, you have the consideration of the second reading of the rate ordinance. This is in conjunction with the Middletown sewer rate increase. The Proposition 218 process was followed. A public hearing was held last week. At the end of the public hearing, a majority protest was not registered, and the board introduced the ordinance for the first reading. Pardon me. And so today before you, you have the ordinance for your consideration for the second reading and adoption.
All right. Any questions from the board? Hearing none, I'll open it up to the public and see if we have any comments, and it looks like we do. Ma'am, if you can come to the microphone and state your name, and I'll start your 3 minutes.
Yes, my name is Julia Bono. You should all now be in possession of a Freedom of Information Act request. This was served on all the Board of Supervisors as well as taken in person to the Special Districts Office. We are asking for documents to clarify the reasons for why this rate rise is being required or being proposed by the Sewer Board. At the last hearing, there were substantial questions that remained unanswered about why why the sewer capacity should be increased by 1,277 EDUs, and Middletown charged for this increase when there's only a projected increase over the next 10 years of 70 EDUs. EDU is equivalent dwelling unit. So this is a vast increase in capacity for a very, very minor need in increased growth. There's also talk of a grant. The size of that grant, the reasons for that grant, all of that remains unknown, but apparently one of the requirements of this grant is that Middletown sewer rates be hiked. Well, this is coming at one of the worst times for the people of Middletown, who are have a very poor economy and often do not have a lot of flexibility about creating additional income. There's a according to also, I believe at the last hearing, incorrect information on the census was being used to make these recommendations that the board followed. The census has now been updated for the 2021 year, and we're looking at a very high percentage, 23.7% of foreign-born population, of which 100% is Latin American. All right, so this notice did not go out in Spanish. When we personally talked to people, and this was testified to at the last hearing, when we personally talked to people and got letters from them, protest letters from them, they were speaking in Spanish. They were not able to communicate with me in English. They had to speak to my husband, who's bilingual, in Spanish to find out that in fact a rate rise was occurring. So they did not know about this. This rate rise, also the median home value was also stated improperly on the previous census. Now the median home value has gone down substantially in Middletown from $2 million, which was absolutely ridiculous, and anybody who looked at that could have, and knows Middletown could have realized that, down to $439,000. And most of those, I believe, are out of town, which are not actually being serviced by the sewer service. So we're looking at a very poor, underprivileged, served community, not the surrounding community, which tends to be wealthy and vineyards and things like that, but instead of very small houses, very small old houses, largely now occupied by Latin American residents. Within 1 block radius of where I live, I estimate that between 20 and 30 Latin American people are residing that speak Spanish at home. So this is a big change in Middletown's demographics, but if you're not aware of it, you should be aware of it. We've had a large influx of Latin American community, and they were not notified because the notices did not go out in Spanish. Also, we had extremely inclement weather when we tried to obtain the protest. Now, I'm sitting here speaking for 50 people. Okay,
Julia,
I brought in 50.
Your 3 minutes is up.
Sir, I know that, but
We received what you've sent in.
Okay, good, thank you. You received that by email?
And we have it right here.
And also in writing.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So what I'm asking for and what I asked for in my email to you all was a 30-day extension during which we can get these Freedom of Information documents, review them, and then present additional information to the board to inform it and to help it make another situation. Also, I would like to point out.
There's no, you've already taken way
conflict
over
of
your 3
interest.
minutes.
Sir,
so
I
we
represent
can go
50
ahead.
people.
I
I think I should
understand,
be
and
able
we've
to speak.
received all of your documents. We've received
I
the
have one
statement.
additional
We
point
know
to
what you want. There's no more points to make. However,
I
if
think-
you have someone with you, they can come up and make that point in their 3 minutes if you'd like. But that's the only way I'm going to go with that. Is there any other public comments on this? Yes, sir. Please come up, state your name and.
Charles Bono. I live in Middletown. I'd like to address the fact that the board, this board, is also sitting on the water board. I mean, on the sewer board. I believe there's a conflict of interest that you people are on the same boards, making approvals. I mean, what other things, besides giving yourselves awards and approving for your own salary raises, what other conflicts of interest exist here in the county that, your constituents should be aware of? As far as I can tell, the representation here for us, for the Middletown people, is moot. Moak is voting in favor of pay raise, increases in our rates, without taking into consideration either the Latin American community or, the fact that we do not have $2 million properties. We're not privileged people in Middletown, and we shouldn't be, the rate rise 100% in one fell swoop is a little too much for most people to absorb. We would, if we had a 30-day extension, I'm sure we could make up a reasonable amount and protest this sewer rate rise. Unfortunately, we had inclement weather over the weekend before, and we could not get more signatures. At any rate, I asked the board to seriously consider what was stated in the papers that I presented. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll just note that my district shares a lot of things that you just stated, and they're paying that amount right now. I understand last meeting we talked about gradually increasing, but I mentioned last meeting my district has the same challenges with their fixed incomes and whatnot, and are currently paying that. So I don't know if there's anything else from the board, but I'll look online and see if there's any public comment. I don't see any, so I'll close public input at this point and bring it back to the board for further discussion or action.
I'd just like to point out before we take a vote that, again, we did just go through this process in the city of Lakeport, not just for wastewater, but also for water supply. A rate hike is always tough to swallow. And of course, the financial impact and the impact that a community like Middletown doesn't go without saying, but stuff rolls downhill, just like the residents of Middletown have to pay their bills, so does the district that provides them this service, this very important service. There is no free lunch, not in local government, not in my household. And although the 100% raise sounds scary when you look at the bi-monthly charges, I'm looking at 50, 60 bucks. That's less than a tank of gas for many people. So I appreciate the comments. I believe this has been duly noticed. I believe the fee study is accurate. I believe this is necessary for the well-being of the district, and in that context, it is also important for the well-being of Middletown residents. There was one question about any conflict of interest. I know this board sits as the managers for many special districts within the county. If county council wanted to add a word or two on that, or Mr. Harder, we could appreciate that. But there's nothing in here that presents a red flag to me that we would oppose this moving forward. Thank you.
Ms. Grant?
Yes, you're taking this item up as the Board of Directors of Lake Osan. The decisions you're making are as the Board of Directors of Lake Osan. And as Supervisor Green pointed out, there are other bodies where your board is the Board of Directors. For example, Lake County Air Quality is another one. Watershed Protection District is another one. Those are independent entities, but your board still sits. There are no conflicts under the law. As a result, this is completely appropriate.
All right. Did you have anything else to add, Scott?
Nothing to add, no.
Okay, with that, either further discussion or action.
I think we're ready for action. Mr. Chair, I move to approve and adopt the proposed, or do I just offer the ordinance? I'm going to go ahead and offer the ordinance.
Ordinance has been offered.
Director Simon,
Yes.
Director Sabatier,
Aye.
Director Green,
Aye.
Director Pyska.
Yes.
And Director Crandall.
Aye.
Thank you.
Ordinance has been passed.
Thank you.
All right. With that, we'll move on to our next timed item on the agenda, which is our 6.4, public hearing, consideration of appeal AB 22-03 of Planning Commission's denial of major use permit UP 21-14 and initial study IS 21-15 for 22 acres of outdoor cannabis cultivation, applicant Monte Cristo Vineyards LLC, located at 11250 Cerrito Drive, Clear Lake Oaks, APN 006-007-17, 23, and 30. With that, Director Turner, I think she's online, and I see Byron is here, and I'm not sure if Andrew is joining us as well, but we will go ahead and give the floor. Oh, Ms. Grant?
Just as a reminder, I'm sure you were getting to it, all witnesses must be sworn. In the cases of appeal, Community Development will present their case first, followed by the appellant, and then whomever else your board wishes to hear from.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. I didn't think of that, so you got me. You helped me out. So, Joanna, if you want to...
Supervisor Green.
Oh, go ahead, Supervisor Green.
Real quick, it's not a point of order now.
Microphone, sorry.
Oops, did it the other way. Procedural question. I forget if this is an auto appeal of an auto denial or if it's something else. So if there is something regarding that, before we go full-blown into that, I just want some clarification on that and whether remand, we discussed another project similar to this and did a remand. So if there's any discussion about that potentiality, maybe we could have that sooner than later.
That's a very good point and should be taken up first. It's my understanding that there was a 2-to-1 vote, so it couldn't proceed. So Supervisor Green's comments may be very well taken. I would suggest staff speak to that, and your board can determine what, if any, action you want to take in response, or if you want to move forward to hear this. As you know, if you move forward to hear it, it's a de novo hearing, which means it's all new. So you'll consider whatever evidence you feel is appropriate and relevant to the case at hand.
I would be happy to address that. Supervisor Green, thank you for the question. We have been having a series of planning commission meetings that only have 3 commissioners in attendance. And when that is the case, action taken by the commission either to approve or deny requires the quorum of the full body. So that's 3. And so in this situation, a motion to approve was made, but it failed because it was 2-to-1. So in this situation, the appellant appropriately filed an appeal. It was not an automatic denial.
All right, so they didn't know. So
Can you double click on the top?
There you go.
Like double click on the black bar? No?
Supervisor Green, go ahead.
So just to follow up then, you're distinguishing this from a prior case that did get remanded. Is there a recommendation to remand or not remand, or are you taking a position on that?
Because this is an appeal, we don't have a mechanism to offer or to request remanding back to the Planning Commission. So I'll defer to Anita regarding what the options are for the board, but that is why we took a position of recommending approval of the project.
Ms. Grant?
Yes, thank you. As your board considers the evidence presented here, if you determine that the environmental review was not comprehensively reviewed or appropriately done, because as you know, that's the Planning Commission's function in these proceedings, then certainly your board can kick it back, remand to the Planning Commission to conduct that environmental review. If you change or augment something that would require additional environmental review, you also have that same flexibility.
Any other comments from the board before? Supervisor Sabatier?
I know upon looking at this project, I feel that a fair shake was not given to the applicants at the Planning Commission, with one planning commissioner using a position of power with only 3 people there to cancel a decision versus just doing a continuance until there's 5 people there. However, I also feel that it would be a waste of time to staff, because my mind tells me if we kick it back to Planning Commission, whether it gets approved or not, it's probably still going to come back here. It seems that the community is very passionate about this project. It seems the applicant is very passionate about the project. So I feel like I want to not waste staff's time. And while a part of me would love to see it go back through the Planning Commission with a full set of commissioners, I also don't want to waste staff's time any more than they've already had to spend on this, and we have the ability to deal with it. I'm okay with either way, but that my opinion, I think, is more leaning towards let's just move forward so we can make a final decision, because kicking it back, I don't think will be a final decision.
Go ahead, Supervisor Green.
I do appreciate that in the interest of time and efficiency. That said, land use decisions aren't always known for their efficiency. They are known for their length and the completeness of the record. To the extent that we're going to make findings, or the Planning Commission make findings, so we're building an administrative record here of the decision that we're ultimately going to make, whether a board sitting on an appeal or the Planning Commission in approving the project. I agree that they did not get the best out of the Planning Commission. Through nobody's fault, you know, absences happen and all that, but it is an odd creature of the law that you can have a consensus of the Planning Commission, but they are effectively handcuffed and taking any action. So I could go either way. I think in terms of completing the record on what is clearly a significant project, there may be some advantage to remand, if only so they can get the full hearing before that body that was not provided, and so that when that body makes findings, and if an appeal happens on that basis, we have that fullness of the record that we don't have right now. I guess I would just leave it at that. I mean, certainly we'll follow the board's direction. I think the applicant and some of the opponents are here. Certainly, I think they could speak to their own desire about whether they would like to proceed in full today, or if they might see some benefit in a remand back to the Planning Commission.
I think, too, one of the things that I appreciate seeing now is that the Planning Commission has come up with some bylaws or improvements so that way we can avoid situations as such in the future. So that's promising. So should I...
Actually, Supervisor Crandall, if I might add.
Yes.
The Planning Commission did consider an option for alternates, but they decided that they didn't want it. So the updates that are being made to the bylaws are for clarity, but not an improvement on absences.
Ms. Grant.
I do believe, however, that the draft Planning Commission bylaws will allow for a procedural vote to continue based upon 2-1, which will at least stop things from being stymied from a continuance if necessary. But I'd certainly defer to the Community Development Director to see if that's still part of the bylaws.
Yes, that is still in there. Thank you.
All right. And so should we discuss further about remanding, or should we just swear people in and move forward from here? Supervisor Simon?
You know, I think I'm prepared to move forward today. You know, I agree with Supervisor Sabatier's comment that, you know, if it does go back to the Planning Commission, I think this one will end up back here one way or the other. And I think going through this hearing today will help us come to a final decision. So prepared to do it. I know it's going to be a long one, but we got to get it done. So yeah, so those are my thoughts.
All right. So with that, we'll swear everyone in and go from there. Oh, yes, and just a brief notice that at 11, we have a hard stop, so once we'll probably get into part of this And then at about 10:55, we get prepared for our 11 o'clock item, which is some proclamations for item 6.5 for retirements and whatnot. And we had families and friends that are coming at that specific time, so we have to make sure we stay in that timeline. Once that's finished, we'll come right back to this item. But I just wanted to state that for notice. And with that, we'll get back to 6.4. And Johanna, if you'd like to swear folks in, and if there's anybody online that would like to swear in, please raise your hand, turn your camera on, and let's see if we can get you sworn in as well. Of course, we'll go from there.
Are we doing the camera thing? Because then I have to permit.
Oh, no, I mean, it just, it's a recommendation, but if
I'll
they,
allow them to speak.
right.
Okay, hold on. Let me get all these people in here.
I think if they have their camera up, I mean, not camera, I'm sorry, their hand up, they're basically,
Okay, so if you're here to speak on this with your right hand raised, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do. Thank you.
so can I get one more count if you're here to speak on this? I just want to make sure I determine the amount of time that we need. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So there's 15.
Was it 3 online or 4 online?
Oh, yeah, so there's 3, 15, 16, 17. So we're going to do our best to stay at 2 minutes. We'll bleed over a little bit here and there if you can get to that point. To come to a halt. I won't be like 2 minutes. We will at least allow some, but just please try to keep the brevity. We do have documents online stating stances and whatnot, so either, I won't tell you how to speak on your behalf, but we do have those. So we understand the positions, but we do want to hear your thoughts and insight on this as well. So, but because there's 18 people, we would like to keep that in a brief way. So I appreciate your understanding on that. And with that, looks like we'll give the floor to Maria. And,
Thank you. Mireya Turner, Community Development Director. I will defer for the staff presentation to Byron Turner from LACO. Who I hope is there.
I am here. I'm just working on sharing the screen.
If you can make that full screen, I know I'm looking at it from Zoom. Perfect.
Show F5. Okay, thank you. Yes, my name is Byron Turner, Chair, members of the board. This is an appeal of the decision of the Planning Commission for use permit 21-14 and initial study 21-15. I'm going to give a brief presentation here, respectful of everyone's time. This is located at 11230 and 11250 Cerrito Drive. This request is for a use permit that will allow for the cultivation of up to 22 acres of commercial cannabis. The property is 452.5 acres in size and currently supports a 128-acre vineyard. Pursuant to the applicant's drought management plan, the applicant intends to cultivate 14 acres of the 22 until such time that the drought emergency is lifted, and 40 acres of the vineyard will be removed to offset the water usage, plus the applicant has indicated a willingness to remove more vineyard. I will discuss that a little further in the presentation. As we discussed, this was originally heard on June 23rd. After presentation, public comment, and deliberation, the Planning Commission was unable to come to a unanimous decision on the motion to continue or to approve, and so the project was therefore denied, and the applicant appealed the matter. The project is located in the RL, Rural Land Zoning and General Plan designation, and is subject to the Shoreline Communities Area Plan. Here's an aerial photo of the site. You can see how it relates to the surrounding area. It is within the shoreline watershed. This map represents the applications that were in process at the time. There have been more approved projects since this map was created, which reflects the conditions on June 23rd when the project was heard. There's 4 distinct cultivation areas, all between 5 and 6 acres each, clustered at the westernmost portion of the property and up in the northern corner. The project also includes a processing and harvest storage facility, 2 immature plant greenhouses, which are not considered part of the canopy, and sheds for ag chemicals and a security center. Existing residence and a barn, as well as a water storage reservoir on the site. The peak shift for employees is 24. Traffic fluctuates depending on the season. It does increase the overall traffic to the site, but there's a reduction in peak traffic changing from cannabis, or changing from vineyard to cannabis. The site is within the Schindler Creek Frontal Clear Lake watershed, and all cultivation is set back from any water body. It's a relatively hilly property on the east-west trending ridgeline between Clear Lake and High Valley. So staff reviewed the general plan, the shoreline communities area plan, the zoning ordinance, and state regulations when considering its recommendation for this project. The Lake County General Plan, as we stated, rural lands general plan designation. There's no conflicting policies within general plan and no specific policies addressing commercial cannabis in the general plan at this time. With regard to the shoreline communities area plan, there are policies that can be applied to this project, protecting the scenic view shed as well as waste disposal. The zoning ordinance was considered. Article 27, which is where cannabis is housed, was reviewed and is consistent, as well as the rural lands zoning designation and the waterway combining district. Within the waterway combining district, it does meet all the requirements and is compliant with all required setbacks. A initial study and mitigated negative declaration was prepared for this project. It was circulated from March 24th to April 22nd. The CEQA analysis determined mitigation measures would be required for aesthetics, air quality, biological resources, cultural resources, hydrology and water quality, as well as noise. There was quite a bit of public written comments as well as comments in person regarding water use, fire hazard, the size of the cultivation, traffic, benefit to the county, insurance bonding, worker housing, dust security, distances to residents of school, and concerns about the noticing. I'll start with noticing. This is the public notification map. It was noticed according to code requirements. Cultivation takes place in the, as I'm doing before, over the west part of the property and the north, but it was, being over 5 acres in size, this map reflects the noticing distances, which was 700 feet from the property line. With regard to water use, because of the drought, the applicant has reduced the cultivation area from 22 acres to 14 acres during the drought emergency. 40 acres of vineyard is proposed to be removed, and at the public hearing at the Planning Commission, the applicant submitted a proposal to reduce an additional 18 acres of vineyard from the site, and supplied a hydrology report to support that conclusion that no net water use increase will occur at the site. It's going to use the same amount of water with the cannabis as it does with the vineyard. Traffic, we discussed an increase in overall daily trips, but a decrease in peak hour. Fire hazard, there are mitigation fees, and it is under the purview of the North Shore Fire Department. There are concerns about the county benefit. There are taxes and fire mitigation fees. This is not in any established benefit area. There's no ordinance requirement for a development agreement, and there's no requirement for a decommissioning bond. That's something that came out of the public comments. There's no increase proposed in worker housing or increase required. As far as proximity to schools and residences, the proximity, it meets all setbacks required. The proximity requirements are not applicable to the route. A lot of the issues with noise, dust, and traffic are existing in the area, and due to the vineyard usage, as well as the other uses that are in the area, including additional vineyards. And so this project did not trigger any mitigation related to its own use. It was staff's recommendation at the Planning Commission and carries forward to the board that the commission adopt the mitigated native declaration and approve the use permit. So it's therefore staff's recommendation. That recommendation has not changed. We recommend that the board grant the appeal. I'm available for any questions. I know the applicant has a presentation as well, and we discussed there's plenty of public here as well. So that concludes my presentation.
Any questions from the board? We'll move forward. You said there's a presentation. Okay.
Mr. Chair, you may want to call the appellant up, then usually they'll sit.
Yes, if you would like to sit up here at the other seats available.
Yeah, yes.
They're the same.
All right.
I can't see.
All right.
Oh, that's fine. I think I'm looking this direction.
All right.
Ready? Good morning, Supervisors. My name is Jacqueline Darma-Paulin. My husband Jonathan and I are the owners of Monte Cristo Vineyards. I'm also a proud mother of 3 daughters and a farmer here in Clear Lake Oaks, where we have farmed our grapes for the last 23 years. I come from a family of several generations of cashew farmers in our village in India. We farm both for food and an interesting liqueur called Feni, pretty potent. In 1999, my husband and I came to Clear Lake Oaks. We fell in love with the Clear Lake from the moment we arrived. We met Dennis Bluth, Janice Mashek at Shoreline Realty in the Oaks, and they found us the beautiful land on Cerrito Drive. It was beautiful and perfect for our family. As a bird lover and Audubon Society member, I personally fell in love with the natural elements of this beautiful land, especially the native birds, the blue oaks, and the lovely animals, and those live amongst us today on the property. Our family especially fell in love with the community that welcomed us so kindly. In 1999, we dreamt of having a farm, one that our 3 daughters could enjoy, with lots of help from veteran farmers like the Shannons, who helped us plant our very first vine, to many tradespeople who helped us plant these acres. For a little over 2 decades, we have farmed our vineyards impeccably and are fortunate enough to retain long-term relationships with local businesses in Lake County. Our good farming practices, hard work, and dedication has allowed us to do this. I must also note, in 23 years, we've never received one complaint or violation as our vineyard operation. Not one. We believe in caring for and protecting our environment. One of the biggest accomplishments was in 2015 when we became a California Certified Sustainable Farm. We've implemented practices that work towards a greener environment. A majority of our land is designated to support native species. And actually, this is a binder. If you're interested, you can look at this as a certification process. I'll be happy to send that around. Today, that includes taking care of the land itself in its natural state. And the process of certification is quite lengthy, and I think Jonathan will get into that a little bit later. In addition to taking care of the native species, we've done some things back in 1999 that seem to be kind of cool now that we didn't really think about then. We've established deer corridors amongst the property. So we open those from time to time. Because we have quite a large property, they get to roam back and forth on the property itself. We've also implemented something called the Seeds and Bees program to encourage the growing bee population. In addition, we have kept native grasses, a blue oak savanna, and I think I'd estimate about 80% of our property has been remained in its native state. Along with our priorities, we have found it important to hire and retain employees from Lake County. Most, if not all of those employees and tradespeople are our neighbors. They're our community. And they all live and reside in Lake County. Since our application, I'm disappointed to hear others refer to our staff as transients and thieves. Our staff are hardworking individuals who get up at the crack of dawn to come to work. They put in a full day. They pay taxes to feed their families, like you and me. We cannot villainize, criminalize hardworking people, but rather respect their values to work. Some of this language is really dangerous, as I've read through some of the letters, setting a dangerous precedence. As a woman of color, this language is frankly scary. I want to talk about some of the realities, though, of farming we've come to respect in 23 years. Wildfires, for example, are a concern for all of us. We have worked tirelessly to help contribute to controlling wildfires that threaten Clear Lake Oaks. Our farm is a natural fire break protecting the oaks. I have personally worked with North Shore Fire, Mike Ciancio, and recently Brian Bartko, CAL FIRE, Doyle Head, and PG&E to minimize those risks. We've provided water in the 2018 fire that saved the oaks. We have since put protective arrangements in place to address emergencies, and we continue to work with them moving forward. We believe in doing the right things for ourselves and our neighbors, as we have for 23 years. Now, our new project is taking a very small portion of an existing vineyard and converting it to legal cannabis. We didn't come to this decision easily. We have carefully considered the implications. We have studied the county's requirements, followed the process patiently over 2 years to make sure we address all of the considerations. We believe that it is possible to follow the rules and the intention of Lake County's ordinance and safely grow this crop. We want to ensure that the crop conversion is safe, clean, and has minimal impact on our environment and our neighbors. For that reason, we have placed plantings at the furthest part of our property away from our neighbors, which is about 1.6 miles. And we'll show you that a little later, 1.6 miles. Our intention is to implement the same eco-friendly and sustainable practices to farm cannabis as we have done for 23 years of farming grapes. The permit we have submitted is under consideration for you today and is a confluence and a culmination of all of our work, learnings, and our commitment to doing things the right way. My personal priority is to be conscious of our environment, our community. My intention has always been to practice ethical farming. I hope you will consider our permit application in that light today. Thank you.
Sir, do you have something to add?
A few quick words.
And we have a, just note that at 11, we have a hard stop, so.
Yes.
Okay.
Would it be better if we come back to it afterwards?
It might be, considering we're at 10:54 right now, so.
Almost on your 10:55.
Yeah.
We don't mind coming back at this hour.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and conduct a short break, come back to this after the 11 o'clock. Did you have something, Supervisor Green? Because I noticed you.
Just quick housekeeping, if we wanted to, and Anita can chime in, I did conduct a site visit, and I think that's something we will want to disclose before we go to that. And if there were any other members that conducted site visits, maybe we'd disclose that. And then I did have a technical question for staff on IS. Don't need to do it right now.
All right. Ms. Grant?
Yes, normally any board member who makes a site visit will speak to that and disclose it during the hearing process. And it's fine, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just you do say.
So we'll go ahead and for now, postpone this item for after the 11 o'clock. Come back and do that, so that way we don't miss the 11, since all the families are here for the retirement proclamations. So we appreciate the accommodation, and we'll take a short break before, or?
I just wanted to say that after the 11 o'clock, there's a lunch hour as well. Just wanted to check in on that so that everybody's kind of aware about the approximate timeline of when we'll come back.
11 to 12.
So like 1 o'clock, 1.
Yeah, we might have to do that, right? This 11 o'clock item's going to take the full hour.
I am going to guess that it should take the full hour from history of doing these type of proclamations, except for, especially for retirements.
All right.
And then afterwards, there is a reception.
So then 1 o'clock is,
If it ends at noon,
if it ends at noon and
we'll just
pushes
be
over.
picking this up after lunch.
Okay, so we'll pick it up at 1.
Ish.
Ish.
Yeah.
Be prepared at 1. We might come back at 1:15. We might come back at 1:30 at the very latest.
So that's timeline for this item. That's what we'll look at from there.
Thank you, Chairman.
So, all right, thank you. All right. So thank you for understanding that. We'll go ahead and prepare. We have 3 minutes for the other item before it starts. So let's see here. If you want to get up and stretch before we move on to this one or anything like that, or I know Byron, you can prepare to come back after, have your stuff ready. Let's see here. It's the order.
Sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
Byron, can you stop the share?
Nice picture, though.
And so what you're saying. Yeah, we're going to stay in order here. And so we're going to come together for our 11 o'clock item, which is 6.5. And it's a presentation, a proclamation commending Michelle Mickey Dolby on her retirement after over 16 years of service to the County of Lake. And B, presentation, a proclamation commending Sheriff Coroner Brian Martin for his 15 years of service to Lake County, and presentation, a proclamation commending Treasurer Tax Collector Barbara Ringen for her 32 years of service to Lake County, and D, presentation, a proclamation commending County Clerk Auditor Controller, Kathy Saderlin for her 41 years of service to Lake County. With that, we are going to go in order here. Just another note is after each proclamation is read, we'll allow folks to come up and speak on behalf of that person that we read. And then following that, we'll go on to the next proclamation. There's videos, and those will be done at the end because of the fact that they're going to be for every person that's retiring. However, I know that Mr. Honorado is here, and I don't know, I wanted to give you the preference for Congressman Thompson, if you wanted to come up for every person or if you wanted to come up at the end. All right, excellent. Yes, and just note that Senator McGuire might pop in online here, and if he does, I'm just going to be like, okay, let's let him get his time in real quick, and then we'll go from there. So with that, we'll start off. Our first proclamation is for Michelle Dolby, and Supervisor Green will be reading that and presenting this proclamation. All right.
How we doing today?
I'm nervous.
Well, I'll calm you down. This is the longest resolution I've ever seen in my life. I may skip the highlights. But first off, thank you. Was just a few short weeks ago, I was a member of the Department of Social Services, so I appreciate your service on that. Proclamation commending Michelle Mickey Dolby on her retirement after over 16 years of service to the County of Lake. Whereas Michelle Mickey Dolby began her career with Lake County Department of Social Services on June 19, 2006 as an office assistant 2. Within 8 months of her initial hire, Mickey was promoted to an eligibility worker 1 in 2007. Whereas, when working with coworkers and the public alike, Mickey showed a positive, cheerful attitude. She was able to work well with all staff. Her work was thorough and accurate and showed an ability to make sound decisions. Her conversations with the public consistently showed a sincere concern for their well-being. And whereas in less than a year from her initial hire, Mickey was promoted to Office Services Supervisor on April 30th, 2007. And whereas in her supervisory role, Mickey was able to effectively motivate, mentor, train, and develop her staff to be productive and efficient. She led by example and always treated her staff with respect and understanding. She took the time to listen to her staff and mentor them with genuine concern. And whereas Mickey was promoted to Office Services Supervisor 2 on July 2009, where she continued to plan her work so that her unit ran smoothly and efficiently. Are you going for a new job? Okay. Whereas Mickey accepted a position as a staff services analyst. Go analysts. Any analysts in the room? On July 20, 2011, where she assumed responsibility for a substantial amount of work, including attending CWDA fiscal committee meetings, tracking area agency on aging funding, and generating required reports while working with more than 12 contractors in Lake and Mendocino counties and the California Department of Aging. I'm aging right now. In this position, she developed knowledge and expertise in the accounting unit and handled challenges with grace and professionalism. And whereas Mickey was promoted to program coordinator of the Area Agency on Aging for Lake and Mendocino counties in August 2014, where she continued to be a self-starter and build her expertise in AAA programs and regulations, working with enthusiasm and passion for her work and the population that AAA serves. Her natural supervisory abilities created a positive, productive, and efficient team. She was well-liked and respected by her peers and actively and positively engaged her staff. And whereas Mickey was promoted to Staff Services Manager in February 2016, where she planned and developed numerous recruitment and retention activities with her new team in the Staff Services Unit, Mickey developed and implemented multiple new processes, drafted vital tools to assist other managers and supervisors, and provided superior service to all department staff in a warm and caring manner. And whereas Mickey was promoted to Deputy Director of Social Services on September 9, 2017. And whereas during her time as Deputy Director, Mickey has consistently developed budgets each fiscal year, kept administration tasks running smoothly and efficiently despite challenges and changes in staffing, led by example with consistent, extraordinary work habits showing focus, responsibility, and organization, problem solved with innovation and creativity, and took initiative often without being asked. She was always willing to take on difficult tasks and educate herself when given a task with which she was not familiar. She assisted with reviewing and compiling job descriptions for every position in the agency for the class and compensation study in 2019. And whereas Mickey's help was incredibly valuable in relation to the challenges brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic, she worked to develop solutions for the entire department that allowed our department to continue providing essential services to the community of Lake County, including remote work implementation, both temporary and permanent, modification of public and work areas, and enhancing sanitizing protocols. She was very involved in implementing innovative changes within the department, such as the use of electronic signatures. And whereas, after dedicating 16 years of service to the Lake County Department of Social Services, Mickey has held many different positions and has excelled in each and every one of them. Her employee evaluations completed by various superiors have consistently shown outstanding work across all positions held. Mickey has shown exceptional leadership skills, efficient and exemplary work habits, positive attitude, and ability to accomplish an incredible amount of work. Her assistance during her career, and especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, has been invaluable. She has helped develop policies and procedures, desk guides, and develop deep knowledge and expertise in the processes and programs in the department. Her efforts will positively impact the Department of Social Services for years to come due to her unique and exceptional leadership skills, her ability to fill critical administrative positions with highly competent and motivated staff, and her push for innovative changes. Mickey is an insightful, perceptive, and incredibly talented individual who has earned the admiration, respect, and friendship of many during her outstanding career. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Lake does hereby commend and express its deepest appreciation to Michelle Mickey Dolby for her dedicated service to the community during her more than 16-year career in public service, and extends her best wishes for continued success, health, and happiness in all her future endeavors.
Now you know I'm retiring. I'm so tired. I was so afraid I was going to cry, and I was warned I was going to cry, but I didn't. Yeah. Thank you so much, Supervisor Green. I really appreciate his humor while he was reading it, because that kind of kept me going. I just wanted to take a couple of seconds to just say how wonderful the people I work with are over at Social Services. They make it a joy and a privilege and a challenge to work every day. And I just want to say, I know everybody else who's represented here has great departments, but anybody looking for a job, Social Services is a place to go. Gotcha. And I just want to say thank you, and I am looking forward to retirement, and good luck to all the other retirees.
Thank you for that. Anyone who wants to come to speak now, this is your time as I catch my breath.
Go ahead.
Good morning, Michelle Dibble, Department of Social Services. And I have worked with Mickey very closely, for 16 years, but very closely for the last 6. The proclamation covered almost all of it, But the one thing that it forgot was how much fun Mickey loves to have. That's one of the things that I'm going to just so miss. We have, challenges, and Mickey always handles them with grace, but boy, does she know how to have fun. And she always has a yes, let's do it attitude, and a really bad eye-rolling joke for every Thursday. So I hope to keep getting the text for the bad jokes. Anyway, thank you, Mickey, for all of the years that we've had together. And I know on behalf of the department, we appreciate you. And Crystal couldn't be here, the director, Crystal Marketan, but I'm sure she would, restate the whole proclamation again. So, all right, thanks.
Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Kelly Page. I will be filling Mickey's shoes once she has left, and after hearing all that, I've got a big job in front of me. I just hope, and I'm not going to cry, after all the years working with you, I hope I can be a fraction of the deputy you've been. You're amazing, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Pictures later, right? Where is he? Sam, you wanted to do them.
While you're there.
Yeah. I think Sam wanted to do them on each.
We're going to do individual photos and then.
All right. Did you want us down there or here?
Oh, this will work. That'll work even better. Oh, yay. That's even better. Supervisor Spatier, can you move over? Thank you. I want to make sure I get everybody in, right? Okay, one more. Cool, that was the best. Okay, thank you.
All right, and I see Todd is on and he had his hand up, so I'm going to go ahead and give him the opportunity. Todd, if you'd like to unmute and go from, give your statement.
Yes, Mickey, I'm so sorry I'm not there in person, but I do want to, I echo everything that's been said. You and I kind of grew up together here in the county of Lake. I did spend some time at social services, and it truly was an honor and a privilege to be able to work with you. Your passion and dedication, and of course, always your sense of humor are always appreciated. And I wish you well in your retirement. It's well deserved. And so, yes, thank you for your years of service. And it was just a joy and a pleasure to be able to work with you for those years. So thank you.
All right. Go ahead, Supervisor Spatier.
You're not quite done, Mickey.
What?
I was running.
So number one, until I read your proclamation, I had no idea. I always called you Mickey. I don't know you as Michelle. That was weird. But I want to thank you. I appreciate how approachable you are, how kind you are, how knowledgeable you are. Every time I needed to contact social services, it would seem the answer would come directly from you. Yeah. And I just want to share my appreciation, the amount of work that you've accomplished at social services, the amount of people you've touched. I'm sorry, Kelly, big shoes to fill. But I want to thank you for your 16 years, and I think you are highlighting the best of what Lake County has in our staff. So thank you so much.
All right, so next we will have a proclamation for Sheriff Brian Martin, and Supervisor Sabatier will be reading this proclamation.
I'm bringing my boss with me. Punches me every time I say something stupid.
We know that some positions is definitely a family thing. Thank you for joining us here today. I'll start off before reading. I know that the sheriff comes here with his heart filled. He just did Shop with a Cop. There's no way you can leave Shop with a Cop without feeling good about what we do here in our county when we serve our communities. But the position he's in, he's had his heart in it from the very beginning. We've seen and felt the changes that he's made to this department since coming through. And I'll be blunt, we needed those changes. And thank you so much for stepping up. Thank you for taking the role of leadership as the sheriff for our community. And thank you for your service. Proclamation commending Sheriff Coroner Brian Martin for his 15 years of service to Lake County. Whereas, being a dedicated Lake County public servant came naturally to Brian Martin, as he was surrounded by examples of public service. His father, the Honorable Judge Richard Martin, his mother, retired Deputy District Attorney for Lake County. His parents' invaluable contributions to the County of Lake have set a high bar for both Brian and other community leaders. The values his parents instilled in him have been evident to everyone who has worked with Brian throughout his impressive career. Prior to starting his law enforcement career, Brian Martin joined the Army as a military police and served his country with honor for 5 years. And whereas, starting with his employment with Lake County on July 18, 2005, Brian Martin has always been respected and well-liked by his colleagues in local law enforcement, all the way back to his early days working for the Sheriff's Department. He worked his way up to become a member of the department's command staff with the rank of lieutenant, and was eventually elected as the Sheriff Coroner of Lake County and started in that position on January 6, 2015. And whereas, regardless of his rank or position, Brian Martin always demonstrated himself to be a dedicated public servant, reliable, hardworking, and with the highest level of integrity and ethics. He is known as being fair and even-handed. He is also known for speaking up and speaking out with honesty and sincerity on behalf of the Lake County residents he serves. And whereas Brian Martin's election as Sheriff Coroner brought ethical leadership, stability, and public trust to the Sheriff's Department at a critical time when it was urgently needed. His skills as a leader were invaluable to the county during a series of catastrophic wildfires and other emergencies that occurred during his tenure as Sheriff Coroner. Like his parents before him, Brian Martin has set a high bar of what to expect from our county Sheriff Coroner. Brian and his spouse, Crystal, both are public servants serving their communities and instilling in their children and their communities the same value of public service. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Lake does hereby commend Brian Martin for his 15 years of service to the County of Lake and to the residents of Lake County, and extends our appreciation for his dedication and hard work, and wish him the best in the future. Passed and adopted on the 13th day of December.
Thank you. There's a room full of people here to thank, and there's a community outside to thank, and I'm not going to be able to thank everybody, but I want to take a couple moments to point out some people I'm very grateful for. Before I do that, people ask, well, what are you going to do now? I'm like, I got to figure out what to wear. I don't know. Been dressing in a uniform for 30 some odd years, so it's going to be difficult. The first person I want to start with is my wife, who joins me here, Crystal. I probably shouldn't start with her because I'll get a little emotional, but she was here with me in the beginning. She's been here with me through my entire career. And I talked her into coming up here today, so. She's going to pinch me from behind if I say something stupid, so I'll try not to say anything too stupid. As I look in the room, I'm reminded of so many memories, all the way back to when I decided to run for sheriff, and Rob Brown was there, and he says, yeah, it's a good idea, and he chuckled a little bit. I go, well, what's funny about that? He knew what was going to be funny about that. Anybody that ventures into the world of politics, whether it's on a small scale, whether it's a school board, county government, city government, state politics, or whatever, you quickly learn how challenging it is. And Rob was there to encourage me and guide me through that, and I owe a lot of my success to him. By
the way, the standing ovation was for her.
I know, yeah. Rob, I'll tell you that you were very influential when the proclamation mentioned, say, you speak your mind. I saw you do that once, I think. And it's admirable. When you're elected to a position, you represent the people. You're not an employee of the county, you represent the people, and I think it's very important that anybody gets into that, realizes that, and stays true to that, and say what's on your mind, say what needs to be said. I want to thank my coworkers that are out there, and when I say my coworkers, I mean my fellow law enforcement partners. The 2 police chiefs and the CHP commander are back there, as well as some of my command staff and all the men and women that work in law enforcement and public safety in this community. We do this as a team. We'll joke and poke at each other a little bit, but at the end of the day, we're all interested in public safety, and we all come together. my other coworkers, the various department heads and other people that work for the county. Some of you have been friends with me long before I became the sheriff. Some of you in this room have known me since I was a kid. We've been lifelong friends. But all of you have been great partners and great people to work with over the years. And I want to thank you all for everything that you do to help us all become successful. And lastly, and again, I'm sorry I'm missing some people. I can't get a hold of everybody. I'm going to try to wrap this up by 3. Lastly, my dad, who's in the back. He's been a role model for me for my entire life. He's always taught me treat people fairly, treat people respectfully, and that's served me well. And this community has treated me like a king. Thank you for allowing me the honor to serve. Crystal's got a 20-minute speech.
What'd you say? Oh, my speech. I actually do want to say something really quick. You know, if you think he's a great sheriff, you should see him as a husband and a father. And we are so, so grateful and proud of Brian. And I think, you know, I speak for me and our children, and that we're really excited to see him with a little less stress on his shoulders. So congratulations. And later.
Thank you. You don't do this.
Thank you both. You're not done yet. I believe we have Brad Honorado.
You want to share the story, Brad?
Oh, don't you worry, I will. Oh, up there? So before I begin on behalf of Congressman Thompson, there's a couple of things I need to say personally. First time I ever met Brian, and no one will ever be able to top this one. He came into Mike's office and he sat down. I came over and sat down and he immediately spilled a cup of coffee all over him. It was on the desk.
I was looking for an endorsement. Brad's like, it wasn't that dramatic, but the story's way better if I do that.
That is definitely something that we'll always share, Brian. And secondly, as I've told you before, I just turned 65. You are too young to retire.
Should have gone to the police academy.
And Mike did not want you to retire. But that said, he is sorry that he couldn't be here today. He's in a Ways and Means Committee hearing, or else he'd be here via Zoom. But he went to the House floor last Friday and shared with his colleagues a resolution on your behalf. And I'm not going to read the whole thing because so much of it was touched on in the Supervisors proclamation. But I do want to read a couple of things. As sheriff, Mr. Martin provided exemplary leadership in the face of unprecedented challenges such as the COVID-19 pandemic, major flood events, and devastating wildfires in Lake County. He has testified in front of the California State Senate following the Valley Fire and made major technological advancements to the county's notification system. Additionally, Mr. Martin reclassified correctional officers to peace officers and promoted the first 2 female deputy sheriffs or sergeants in the department's history. Some of his other achievements include safety improvements to the sheriff's office building and vehicles, in addition, body-worn camera technology and the formation of the Sheriff's Foundation. In recognition of his outstanding work, I was very proud to recognize Sheriff Martin as a Public Safety Hero of the Year for Lake County in 2016. Mr. Martin is a devoted husband of 28 years to Crystal Martin and the father of 3. His children, Brian, Haley, and Matthew, have all continued their family's proud tradition of military service. Madam Speaker and colleagues, we thank Sheriff Martin for his many years of selfless service and commitment to the people of Lake County. His efforts have undoubtedly made his community a safer place to live. Therefore, it is fitting and proper that we honor him today.
Yes.
Sure, we'll take a picture later.
Well, it seems really like a lifetime ago that we sat down at the old TJ's bar and had a beer and discussed how you were going to convince Crystal to let you take this job. And I'm very thankful that whatever you did worked, because those were some dark and difficult times for the county and the sheriff's office. This was all mentioned in the resolution. I can't really add much to it, but to me, I've always respected the measure of integrity and partnership that you brought to the Sheriff's Office. I'm very thankful for your continued support of the city of Clear Lake through fires, various mutual aids, or bringing the crew at Traeger so that they could grill stuff on it. I know you've had a very close and trusting relationship with Chief White, and I've watched that and appreciated your support and mentorship there. So I just want to thank you for the many years of your honorable service, friendship, community involvement, and wish you and Crystal the best.
Thank you.
Chair?
Oh, sorry.
If we could just walk up.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jim Steele. Here's what I want to say. The entire time I was on the board of supervisor, the county was burning.
Yes.
We had 8 megafires, a flood and an earthquake, and if it wasn't for Brian Martin being at the helm of taking care of things, I'm telling you, we would have gone down. There was no way to do anything, and he was the guy there telling everybody what to do. It was amazing. So I just want to thank you for that, because firsthand, on the line, that's really what made it work. So thank you for that service.
Anita?
Thank you. Having worked for law enforcement for a very, very long time and with law enforcement for a very long time, Brian is just an outstanding individual, extremely dynamic and capable. And personally, Brian, I will miss you.
Go ahead, Lieutenant.
Thank you. So the rest of your command staff likes to avoid public speaking, so I guess it's going to be up to me. Personally, Brian, from I think all of us, it's been a pleasure to work for you. You've set a standard within the Sheriff's Office that I think was needed and really appreciated. You were always there for questions or to assist any of us with our projects, mentorship, and I think you've set a bar within the Sheriff's Office that the rest of us can strive to achieve someday. And I think we are truly going to miss you and your leadership. I know I've learned a lot underneath you, and I'm hoping to carry that forward. And while you're out on vacation, if you remember the Sheriff's Office and you kind of miss us a little bit, send us one of those dad jokes. Just kind of text us a few of those dad jokes just to remind us that you're still here.
I'll have to compare notes with Mickey, apparently.
Chief White.
Okay, I won't repeat what was said, but I just wanted to thank you on behalf of the Clear Lake Police Department and personally for your partnership. As you know, being a leader can be very lonely, and I always appreciated that if I had an issue to discuss, a challenge that we faced, I could call you. It's been talked about the emergency management. I learned very quickly on, I think, day one here, with your calls and your support and the attitude in this county that we will overcome. It wasn't what will we do, that sort of thing, but it was make things happen. And for the community, something happened this weekend on Sunday. I got an email. A child had a birthday. They invited 25 classmates. Nobody showed up. They emailed me in the course of communication. As you all know, sometimes people confuse Clear Lake, Lower Lake, all these other areas. In either case, it ended up being in Lower Lake, and I was in the middle of church, and I was texting the sheriff, and this is the type of person that he is. I said, hey, I have this situation. Do you want to help out? And within like 10 minutes, I get back. There's a bicycle en route. There's a whole team en route. And not only that, but inviting our officers who had initially sort of lined up to be a part of this to come. And I think that that's a legacy that you'll leave, is our partnership, that law enforcement in this county is everybody working together. It's not the individual agencies. And I think that makes us a stronger and safer county. So thank you for your partnership, and I hope our friendship continues beyond this.
I see Todd Metcalf has his hand up on Zoom. Did you want to? Yep, there he is.
Yes, Sheriff Martin, or I guess now I can call you Brian, I guess, since you're on your way out. I just wanted to quickly say thank you for your help and support over the years, in particular in the position I currently hold. I want to wish you well in your retirement. I'm grateful, so grateful for all you have done for our community. And I also want to point out that your bravery has not gone unnoticed. So congratulations. And as was mentioned earlier, you are too young to retire, but you will be missed. And I just thank you for all your help and support over the years. Congratulations.
Brian, I'll go ahead and say something as well. I know you want to go. I just want to highlight that it's been a really good working relationship that I've had with you, not only just here, but I wanted to highlight the fact that when I became the chair of the tribe, there was a situation where we had to exchange weapons or something like that. They had to be turned in. There was a new leadership, and you came out on a Saturday and sat with me in my office and went through the police department, and that spoke volumes. We've never had a sheriff come and do that. And then to come and work with you on this side of the, the county, and then for you to come to my MACs and all my town halls and really just lay it down and give them the insight that needed to be said. And then also, just taking it in stride. I've appreciated our working relationship. And I also remember when we were neighbors, and I always enjoyed living in that area with the kids playing together and all that. So I just want to say how much I appreciate the work you've done in this county and appreciate working with you and the family, of course. So.
Brian, I have nothing but respect for you and the service that you've given to our country and our community, and I know your family too has also served their time. You are leaving this place better than you found it, which is what all of us strive towards, and you've accomplished that. And I think we're all very grateful for this new place that we're in with your department and the relationship with the community too. You have been carrying a heavy load for a long time, and I wish you rest and some really good times in your retirement. And I know that you have many years to enjoy with your family, but we do appreciate for the time that you have given to our county.
Supervisor Simon. Oh, Supervisor Green.
Sheriff Martin, can't overstate what has been stated a million times here. Your service during not one but two, but a nonstop series of catastrophic wildfires affecting our community is not just exemplary. It's an example that can't be replicated, and with any luck at all, we will never have to replicate it based on just the tremendous toll. Some of you may know I'm a recovering journalist. I've kind of seen law enforcement up and down the state in various incarnations, and sometimes when you're a journalist, that can be kind of adversarial. So I want to highlight the one thing that I cherish, absolutely treasure about you, and that has been your openness, your accessibility, your transparency. What you said is right. When you're elected, you represent the people, so sometimes you have to say things that maybe people don't want to hear or don't accept in the proper way. And as we strive to replace you, that bar is just impossible. But I want to acknowledge it now because it is so rare and precious to see that I hope other law enforcement officers tuning in or who hear about you, you are the model. You set the standard, and I certainly hope as this agency moves forward, we continue to remember your legacy. It's not for me to determine what that legacy is, but I can tell you honestly that that's what I treasure about your time here. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you very much, Brian. It's been an honor to see you serve as a sheriff in Lake County. You're definitely going to be missed. As it said, the open communication, the constant communication with the board throughout the disaster. I just can't say, you never want to go through a disaster, but we couldn't have been better off than the person that was in the sheriff's office while we were doing that. So I want to thank you and Crystal, and I know there's a lot of folks that help also, so I'm not saying, I appreciate everybody, but today we're commending you, and I just want to say thank you very much for everything, and it's been an honor to sit here on this board while you were the sheriff. So I'm going to get up and give you a handshake and a hug, man. All right.
All right. Yes.
May I?
Yes. Yes.
So, Brian, I'm going to so miss you on Voices of Lake County. Everybody talks about his transparency, always during the fires, during an emergency, and all the times in between when you came on radio with me and answered really tough questions, not always from nice callers, but you took it in stride. And the transparency part is so important because you are on social media, and I'd say, come on, you got to come on radio too. There, people get their information lots of different ways. You were always there. Want to miss you. And we talked about maybe doing a show, like different kind of show down the road. Offers open. All right. Thank you. And,
All right.
and Crystal, good luck to both of you.
Thank you.
He's just getting his picture, and then you're, yeah. We could, I can try. I'll be like this.
He'll tell us.
Thank you. I want to make sure we have everybody here. Oh, nice. Okay, one more. Let's see if we can do that. Cool. Great, thank you. Go ahead. Oh, yeah. Hello, Laura. Yeah, come on. It's a good angle, right?
All right.
I know you want to get off and leave, but I'm asking all the retirees, or soon-to-be retirees, not trying to push you out too early, please stay. I'd love to get a group picture with everybody at the end, so please.
Next, we have our treasurer tax collector, Barbara Ringen. If you'd like to come up, and I can read this proclamation on your behalf. "32 years is quite a bit of time. I think I was in high school when you started, so. No, I know. Middle Creek Restoration, it was in, it started back in then too, so. Yeah, but anyhow, I would love to read this on behalf of you, and I appreciate the time we've spent working together on the different issues, mainly, of course, the tax sales. I appreciate your work on that. So I'll go ahead and read this proclamation commending Treasurer Tax Collector Barbara Ringen for her 32 years of service to Lake County. Whereas Barbara Ringen started working for the County of Lake on January 2nd, 1990. As an accountant clerk, too. Starting with her initial staff position in the Lake County Treasurer Tax Collector's Office, Barbara Ringen has always exhibited a great understanding of the department, as shown by her upward mobility within the department. And whereas, aside from the skills she demonstrated while working in the Treasurer Tax Collector's Office, Barbara Ringen also earned the reputation of being a pleasure to work with. And whereas her efforts were noted and acknowledged by her department's leadership, culminating in former County Treasurer Tax Collector Sandy Cacheros appointing Barbara to become her chief deputy, a position in which Barbara Ringen served the county with loyalty and dedication. And whereas, after the former Treasurer Tax Collector resigned midterm, Barbara Ringen stepped up and offered an opportunity to the Board of Supervisors to appoint her to fill the unexpired term, thereby providing continuity and minimum disruption to the office's operations. With the knowledge that such an appointment would undoubtedly have significant personal impacts as it would require her to work. Many additional hours on an ongoing basis, not to mention the personal challenges inherent in fulfilling the responsibilities of such a high-level position. And whereas the County Treasurer Tax Collector has an enormous amount of responsibility, being one of the county government's most important financial offices and therefore impacting all operations of county government. The fact that Barbara Ringen accepted an appointment to this position and subsequently was elected to it by the voters of Lake County demonstrates her dedication to public service and to the well-being of our county. And whereas Barbara Ringen's many years of public service, her contributions to county government, and in particular her contributions to the office of the County Treasurer Tax Collector, are worthy of special recognition and commendation. Whereas, Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Lake does hereby commend Barbara Ringen for her 32 years of service of the County and Lake and to the residents of Lake County, and extends our appreciation for her dedication, hard work, and wish her the best in the future. Passed and adopted this 13th day of December 2022.
Thank you. Well, it was an honor and a privilege to have served as treasurer tax collector for the county. I would like to thank, well, there's a lot of people to thank, absolutely. The list was long, so I had to shorten it a little bit for all the names, but I would like to definitely thank the current and previous staff for all their hard work and dedication to the office. And a special thank you to Liz Martinez, the assistant treasurer tax collector, who always performs her job with integrity. I would also like to, I'm also very grateful for everyone that has supported our office and assisted our office over the years. I would like to acknowledge and honor the previous elected treasurer tax collectors, Kay Litton and Sandra Kacharis, for their public service for the county. I would also like to congratulate Patrick in his election and offer him my continued support coming years. I am looking forward to retirement and waking up to the sunrise instead of the alarm. So thank you.
All right. Is there anyone that has a, here we go.
On behalf of Congressman Thompson, I'd like to present you with this Congressional Special Certificate of Recognition for your 32 years of service to the residents of Lake County. Good luck in your retirement.
You know, I don't know that the citizens in Lake County realize how tough a job it is to be a tax collector. There may be some criticism that comes down, and I know that Barbara has stood up to it. And I got a chance while I was on the chair to actually review her office and the staffing that she had and how she was standing up to the pressures of all of the office. Absolutely amazing. You're a stand-up person, and I really appreciate your work and your service. You were the right person for the job. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo everything that's already been said and thank Barbara for her years of service. And it's been a pleasure working with you over these years. So thank you.
And I am standing. I was just going to sit there and be quiet. I promised myself I would, but I couldn't. As a former treasurer tax collector, I know what a mixmaster that office can be. And Barbara Ringen has stood the test of time. She has stood it with of a woman of integrity and a woman of strength. And you all should be very proud of her. Thank you, Barbara. Give her heck.
Maybe it's hiding behind the coffee cup, sorry. Barbara, 31 years. That is incredible. 32, sorry. I tried to remember what it was. I knew it was in the 30s, and I wrote it. Thank you so much for your dedicated service to the county, and I know all of it was not as a tax collector, but no matter what position you are in the county agency, you are serving the communities. And as somebody stated, I was thinking, Supervisor Steele, I was thinking the same thing. It's not an easy position, being a tax collector. The amount of positive phone calls, I am sure that you could count on one hand, people saying, thank you so much. But it's a position that's needed. It's what runs our agency by collecting these things. And I appreciate your dedication, I appreciate your loyalty, and I wish you the best. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I want to echo also what Supervisor Sabatier said. That is a tremendous amount of service to our county, and we do know that you're not everybody's favorite person when tax bills come out, but you served this county very well over these years, and I'm glad to have met you. I'm glad to have worked with you and served with you, and I wish you all the best in your retirement.
Barbara, I'm the new kid on the block, so 32 years, woo, public service. But you do remind me of what public service means. It's not a glamour job, what you have. It is among the more difficult jobs, and yeah, it's absolutely critical to keeping this county running. But you've done it for so many years, and I think just your sheer longevity and your persistence in your office, you know, you're kind of role modeling, I think, for the next generation of young people who may consider careers in public service. And I think you're a good example for those people who might be interested. No, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be glamorous. But if you stick in there and stick to your guns and your principles, you're going to do good things just like you've done for this county. So I do want to hold you up as a role model for others. Thank you.
Barbara, I just want to say thank you for your years of service for Lake County, and yes, enjoy your retirement, because as it was said, being the tax collector at tax time is not a fun position, but thank you very much for all the hard work you've done for all these years. Thank you.
Cool, thank you.
Kathy, you want to come up front? You'll probably tell me no. So. The whole family, does everyone want to come up? You want to bring everyone up? No? Eventually we'll get you all right. Okay, all right. Excellent. I would like to make another request. I haven't done this, but I'm going to. Rob, would you like to read this proclamation, Kathy? Yep.
Absolutely. You wanted to make me cry.
Probably going to do that myself.
Microphone.
This is, it's been a while. I'm trying to remember how to do this. And by the way, when Jim said that the whole time he was in office, the county was burning, now it all makes sense. I hadn't really dawned on that about that. So this is a real honor. Thank you, Mocha. I really appreciate that. I wasn't expecting this at all, but I just came to honor my friends, and one of those being one of my best friends is Kathy. The Board of Supervisors, County of Lake, State of California proclamation commending County Clerk, Auditor, Controller Kathy Saterlin for her 41 years of service to Lake County. Whereas Kathy Saterlin has spent her entire adult working career with the County Auditor's Office, beginning as entry-level account clerk on September 21st, 1981. To give that some perspective, I think Eddie mentioned he was in high school when Barbara started. Yeah, we were just out of high school when she started, so it's been a lifetime for her, and amazing. She spent it answering phones at the front desk of the auditor's office and steadily working her way up the ranks. And whereas when the county's longtime and much revered county auditor Norma J. Barker retired many years ago, she singled out Kathy Saderlin as being someone who she predicted would someday become the county auditor controller. Even at that early point in Kathy's long career, her skills and potential for advancement were recognized. And whereas while working full-time for the county auditor's office and raising her family, Kathy Saderlin also took the extraordinary step of furthering her education by enrolling in college and ultimately earning a bachelor's degree in accounting. That remarkable achievement has tremendously benefited Lake County in the years since. And whereas due to her dedication and hard work on October 15th, 2011, Kathy Saderlin became the county clerk auditor, county auditor controller, a position which functions as the county's chief financial officer. And whereas Kathy Saderlin is widely recognized as an exceptionally hard worker and dedicated to doing the job, the best job possible, regardless of personal sacrifices. And whereas over the years, Kathy Saderlin has successfully led the county through multiple complex conversions to new automated countywide financial and payroll systems. The hands-on experience she's had in every aspect of the auditor's office, from processing county vendor payments to operating the county's employee payroll system to conducting audits, was an invaluable part of her ability to train, mentor, and supervise staff in her department. And whereas Kathy Saderlin has always taken the county audit process and preparation of annual financial statements very seriously, and her attention to detail has earned numerous awards from the Government Finance Officers Association for excellence in financial reporting. And whereas Kathy Saderlin has never been one to seek the limelight, she has been humble about her many achievements, and she has consistently given credit to the members of her staff for the excellent work she has done. Whereas, as further evidence of her dedication to the community, Kathy Saderlin has been an active volunteer for the Lake County Special Olympics program, serving for many years as the area director for Northern California and Nevada Special Olympics, and she and her husband Robert also somehow found time to volunteer as participants in the county road department's Adopt a Road program, picking up litter along county roadways under the moniker Sewer Guy and Bean Counter. And whereas Kathy Saderlin has always put the county's best interest at the forefront, she is completely trustworthy, and the level of accuracy in her work has been exemplary. Her efforts are largely responsible for the county being in stable financial condition, as the county administrators and boards of supervisors that she has worked with have been wise to heed her advice and counsel on a myriad of important financial matters. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Lake does hereby commend Kathy Saderlin for her 41 years of service to the County of Lake and to the residents of Lake County, and extends our appreciation to her dedication, hard work, and wish her the best in her future.
That's a hard one to follow. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Moak. So as I normally do, I prepared something because I knew this was going to be a hard day. So hopefully I'll be able to get through all of this. When I sent my retirement letter to your board and others back in October, it was with the intention that that would be my last official public statement. Other than to say that I'm thankful and humbled by this is beyond words, and I did prepare these brief thoughts. Thanks to your board and all the previous boards before you, I've had the opportunity to work with some really great board members. Rob is an example. Your jobs are not easy, and the decisions you make can be very difficult. I appreciate the fiscally sound decisions that have been made, and I look forward to observing as a citizen good, sound fiscal decisions. My thanks to the departments and employees I've had the pleasure to work with over the years, from frontline county staff to department heads. I have had the benefit of working closely with county administration and county administrative officers that have been extremely supportive of the mission and goals of my department. I've had the benefit of the incredible mentorship of previous CAOs Kelly Cox and the late Matt Perry. No one can deny the very big imprint that Kelly has had on this county, and his continued support whenever he is called upon, even helping to craft my proclamation. I know that our friendship goes well beyond the walls of this building. The support and guidance of County Council that I have received has been endless. Anita, you have provided me with more assistance and help than I can ever repay. Our professional relationship became a true friendship that I cherish. And once you retire, we can do some of the things that we always talked about in our late night problem-solving discussions. My thanks and gratitude to my work family, the teams I've worked with in the Auditor Controller County Clerk's office. I have been blessed to work alongside some incredibly skilled and talented individuals. I have been fortunate to be mentored by some amazing humans, and I have been pleased when I was able to do the same. To the current talented and skilled team in the Auditor Controller's office, County Clerk, keep up the good work. Never forget that what you are doing has purpose and value. And just as important, have as much fun as possible as you can doing it. As the decades-old photo album of our office event displays, auditors and clerks can have fun. I have confidence that you as a team are well prepared to continue serving with a high standard of excellence, and I wish you all the best. This one's going to be hard. And to my family, you have been the foundation and the glue that has held me together throughout my career. I am looking forward to spending more time doing the things we planned, like a mother-daughter trip to see Shania Twain, more travel in the RV, going to spring training to see the Giants, and just doing whatever we want without my work constraints. I am truly grateful and honored to have given the opportunity to spend my adult life in a career of public service. And I am thankful for all of it, and I'm thankful for all of you. Thank you. And I do have one thing. I'm going to get in trouble for this, Elizabeth. As my daughter said, mic drop.
Thank you, Supervisor. Madam, on behalf of Congressman Thompson, I'd like to present you with a congressional recognition for your 41 years of service to the residents of Lake County. And congratulations on your retirement, and go Giants.
Well, since it was brought up a couple of times, I want to share that I was 3 years old when Kathy started with the county. I have very fond memories of being in this office over here, and first initially hearing lots of discussions and arguments between Matt Perry and Kathy on the phone, and had a lot of chance to do that myself over the years. The resolution that was put together, should have known Kelly was involved, because it really exemplifies you and your work, which are dedication, extremely hard work, attention to detail, trustworthiness. You know, since I left the county, I haven't worked as closely with you, but you've always been accessible to me whenever there was a city question to deal with, and you know, I'm going to miss the long discussions that we had on the phone about city stuff or whatever the heck the county was doing or that type of thing. So, you know, it's really important to have an auditor controller that you can rely on and trust, and Kathy has been that person. I have to say, I know that you have a great team behind you, because I've asked you about that, and, you know, it's just a concern, like, that everything's going to get done correctly when Kathy leaves. That's how much of a mark you've made. So I'm going to trust in the mentorship you've done with your staff, and that you'll be there for the phone calls if needed. So I know you're really have been looking forward to this day. You really deserve it, and just wish you and your family the best.
If I cry through this, I'm blaming you. I don't even know how to begin to say you're going to be gone. You are the hardest working person I have ever seen. You're honest, you're forthright, and you have told everybody in this county a word that they need to hear, and you're brave enough to say it. No. I can't even tell you what that must take. The years you put in, the time you've put in. You're my dear friend. I will miss you.
Like my mentor, I had to write something down because I'm not as good as the rest of you of ad-libbing. And I'll chime in. I was 6 when you started working for the county.
So was I.
I'm honored today to commemorate Kathy for her 41 years with the County of Lake and congratulate her on her well-earned retirement. I've worked with Kathy both at the department level and interdepartment level for 16 years. I first came to work for Kathy in February of 2006. I had a little over a year of county employment under my belt and was looking to broaden my skills and find a department where I could grow and advance. My transfer to the Auditor Controller's Office offered just that and was the catapult to the start of what has proven to be a very rewarding career. Let me say that I'm very grateful to Kathy for giving me that opportunity. She's been a driving force and a key factor in my career over the years. Although I took a hiatus from the Auditor Controller's Office for about 8 years to explore other learning opportunities, throughout that time and tenure in other departments, Kathy was always there for guidance, support, and sound logic. When she approached me in 2019 with an opportunity to rejoin the Auditor Controller team, I of course did not hesitate. For those of you that may not know Kathy, she's very bright, articulate, hardworking, and most of all dedicated to her position and the department. These are just a few of the many qualities that have made her such a fierce leader and excellent mentor. I'm not going to say it was always easy at times. She has high expectations and has pushed me to levels that I myself at times did not think I was capable of. However, it's because of that push and those expectations that I've gotten to where I am today, and I could not be more thankful. One could define a mentor as someone that is more than a mere teacher. Mentors are often emancipators, freeing others from poor technique, clouded vision, and personal uncertainty. I can personally say that Kathy has been all of those for me and a testament to the definition of what I believe a mentor should be. Kathy's dedication to the department and as well to the county as well as our department is insurmountable. She has helped lead us through multiple disasters, a pandemic, and countless audits, just to name a few, by doing her absolute best to maintain a high level of integrity and keep the county's best interest in mind. Her historical knowledge of county processes, her tenacity, work ethic, and genuine ability to do whatever it takes to get a job done has not gone unnoticed and is certainly worth acknowledging. Although her absence will leave a big hole in our department, it is my hope that we as a team can continue to build on her legacy and grow with the tools and knowledge that she has instilled in all of us. Lastly, and most importantly to me, Kathy has not only been a great leader and a mentor, she has also been a wonderful and supportive friend. Kathy, I cannot begin to thank you for all the life lessons, many chats, laughter, and even the tears. I mean this when I say I'm eternally grateful for you and our relationship, both personally and professionally, and you will be greatly missed. I hope one day we can go whale watching together and perhaps further discuss the actual purpose of the blowhole. For the record, I still stand by my logic. In closing, Your legacy is definitely something to be proud of, and your retirement is most certainly earned. What a ride it's been. Congratulations to you. I'm looking forward to vicariously traveling through you and expect text messages and pictures of all your upcoming adventures. Thank you for everything.
Supervisor Sabatier, and then.
So I have a couple of things to say. One, I'm not sure if it was Kathy or Robert who was looking forward to this day more.
I think it's equal.
It's been a year in waiting, I think, or something along those lines. And also, there was a mention about how much fun the office has. I hate to make this public, but I will, just because I'd like to embarrass you and your department. I had to walk out in the middle of the park the other day because celebrations got a little out of hand with the fog machine during Halloween, and the fire alarm went off. That's the level of fun that happens in that department. And with the blowhole conversation, I feel like I need to dive a little deeper in figuring out what happens in that department. But yes, thank you so much. 41 years. I won't give an analogy as to how that puts me in place, but in those 41 years, I feel like I'm just a little blip on the radar. I've been here for almost 4 years, and I could not appreciate the relationship that we've built over those 4 years. You've taught me a lot, what I need to look at, what I need to pay attention to. I can feel your eyes rolling as we agree on things or not agree on things, even though you're not in the room. I really appreciate our friendship, and second to none, 41 years. I don't know that anyone will beat that anytime soon. I don't even know if anyone has ever done that. Amazing. I wish you and your family the best. I know you talk to me a lot about your family, so I think you will enjoy this time that you get to spend with them. And so, thank you for everything.
Supervisor Green.
Hey, Kathy, I won't tell you when I graduated from high school, but I did graduate before you joined. I got to echo the word mentorship. I'm the new kid on the block again. I haven't been able to spend the time that others here have, but the 1 hour I spent with you on the orientation, you mentored me. I know that for a fact. You were kind, you were informative, you were patient with my questions, and you took pain toward the end to make a couple points, too, about how much you cared about this county and how much its future and its economic sustainability is important to you. You kept the wheels on in so many different important ways that I still don't even understand, and I won't bore the audience with a teeter fund, and I won't make you do it either. But thank you so much. 41 years of service is just amazing, and I thank you for the limited time we were able to share together, because it gave me just a little glimmer of understanding why these people here are celebrating you today. Thank you.
You have led and served with a steady hand and taught us all so much. Your commitment to this county it speaks volumes of the years that you've served and the budget hearings that we've sat through together, where you have reminded us of everything that's important, all the things we need to consider. Those lessons are tucked away. They will not be forgotten. I appreciate that mentorship. We're in the position we are now because of you. We have stability, and this position is something that we will continue to protect and lean on those lessons that you've given over the years. So thank you so much for your service, and thank you for your guidance.
Kathy, exemplary service, and I'll let that speak for itself. Everyone else has mentioned that, and I feel the same way. I do want to share somewhat of an emotional side that I've shared with you. In May, we wanted to talk, you invited me up to talk about some important, county matters. And during the discussion, I know I just recently lost my mom, so we jumped into that discussion. I think you could sense it in me about my grieving time frame, and I really appreciated that you showed me how close you keep your mother to you. And then I know that I seen the tear, and I shed one too, and I really appreciate the emotional intelligence as well. So I know we talked about work ethic and all of the other, attributes, but I needed that as well, and so that's important. And if you shared that with me, I guarantee she shared that with her staff, and so I just want to, share that.
Todd Metcalf.
Oh, Todd, if you'd like to unmute, I see you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you. Well, Kathy, I can't make a crack about our age because we're pretty much the same age, but, and you mentioned something about how great it was working with the various department heads. I'm sure I'm not one of your favorites, but and she's nodding.
One of my notable ones, yes.
But I hear the word mentor, and Kathy, you've taught me so much over the years. I've leaned on you heavily to help me understand all this stuff around contracts and budgets and those things that I don't really like. But I'm so grateful to have had the time to work with you, and I'm so thankful for all you have taught me. And frankly, I'm jealous that you're retiring, but congratulations. It's well-deserved. You will be missed. And again, I just appreciate and thank you so much for all you've taught me. And as you know, I still have a lot to learn. So thank you.
Yeah, I wrote something as well, because you taught me so much.
You can tell we're auditors.
It was very planned. We're not going to talk about my age. Working with Kathy for the last year and a half has been an absolute honor. During that time, it's just become incredibly obvious just how dedicated she is to her community and role as a public servant. She's worked tirelessly for over 41 years to protect and maintain the fiscal integrity of Lake County. She's been a great mentor for me as we work towards a seamless transition. Filling her huge yet dainty and fashionable shoes will be impossible, but I'm going to do my best. In 2000, Kathy implemented GASB Statement 34, which most probably don't know what that is, but it fundamentally changed governmental financial reporting and was characterized by the GASB chairman as the most significant change to occur in the history of governmental financial reporting, and that stands as of today still. Kathy has also somehow made the time to implement a new finance system, and those who understand know what a huge undertaking that is. Kathy has worked to ensure the auditor's office has always been in compliance with requirements and even excels in them, as can be seen by the years of awards issued by the Government Finance Officers Association for excellence in financial reporting. In addition to managing the everyday duties of the auditor's office, Kathy has also been at the helm of the finance division during each and every disaster in Lake County that Lake County has experienced. And I'm not just talking about COVID. From 2015 to 2021, Kathy navigated 12 declared disasters. In response to the many events, Kathy developed the Disaster Response and Recovery Unit to guarantee that Lake County will have the financial tools needed to respond to anything coming our way. Through all her years of service, Kathy has always done her best for the county, and her efforts have been and will continue to be felt by us all. I know we all wish we had more time to benefit from Kathy's wisdom, but such is life. It's time for us to let her begin this next exciting chapter of her life. I know she will always be willing to help any of us if we ask her, and you will be on my speed dial, my messenger, my email, my text, my everything.
Kathy, I just want to say, what do I get?
You get a hug.
Thank you very much.
So I just want to say thank you to the family also. I know you guys didn't want to come up, but thank you for allowing Kathy to do what she does. And I know you guys are such a tight family knit unit. Today's an honor to stand here, and just, I hope you know how much I respect you. Rob, thank you for being here so I could ask you to read that. So thank you for your service. Thank you very much. You guys want to say, anybody want to say anything?
Uh-oh.
Okay, here you go.
My bonus son.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't planning on saying anything, but I've known Kathy since I was 16, when I was just a goofy kid that her daughter brought around. And really from the beginning, she was always so kind and welcoming, and really made me feel like a part of the family. And I just wanted to say I love you, and I'm very excited for you to get to enjoy your time in retirement.
You sign. I'll talk for you. You're right. I was coming. That's all right. It's okay. You get it. Tell Mom. It's all right. Tell your mom. Tell her your feelings. That's an accident. Nobody cares. It's all right. Do you want to tell her congratulations?
My picture, Mom.
He wants a picture with his
Oh,
mother.
you would like a picture?
You ready? Oops. Trouble up here.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Where's the picture too, Rob? Sorry, I haven't let you go. Okay. Going this way?
I really do think it's appropriate for Rob to
Yeah.
hold the flowers.
Come over here. Because I want to get everybody.
Oh.
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, you will redo. Yes, okay, great.
And so Supervisor Sabatier has asked that the folks, the retirees, come up and have one last picture with the, with the board. You want to do the video first or the picture?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do the video first. Yeah, Matthew's going to.
Good afternoon, board members, and congratulations to all of our retirees who are being honored today. Just wanted to briefly state, Lake County's esteemed state senator and California Senate Majority Leader Mike McGuire regrets that his schedule did not permit him to be present today, but particularly during times of disaster when he has served as a close partner to Lake County, Senator McGuire has truly appreciated the value of the work of all whose retirements are being celebrated today. And he wishes to share his congratulations and thanks for the impact that each of you has made on all California residents through your years of dedicated service. On behalf of the Senator, thank you to Mickey Dolby, Sheriff Martin, Barbara Ringen, and Kathy Saderland for your truly tremendous work. And we're also grateful that the Honorable Assembly Member Cecilia Aguiar Curry has provided a recorded message celebrating today's honorees. And our videographer, Sam Houston, will share that message now.
Good morning, Lake County Supervisors and honored guests. I'm Assembly Member Cecilia Aguiar Curry. I'm sorry I can't be there with you today, but please know that I'm with you and in spirit and on this video. I just wanted to take a moment to thank you, celebrate and congratulate the dedicated public servants of Lake County as you move into your next chapter of your lives, retirement. Public service is difficult. No one understands it until you're in these shoes. It's challenging, especially in a small county like Lake County, but it's also very gratifying, and it's a labor of love. You have shown your love to Lake County for decades, and Lake County is a better place for your service. Mickey Dolby, your tireless work as the Deputy Social Services Director has been instrumental in maintaining delivery of critical services to the community. And Barbara Ringden, you have served Lake County for more than 3 decades and stepped into the role of Treasurer Tax Collector about 10 years ago. Kathy Saderlin, as Clerk, Auditor, Controller, you lead support of Lake County's disaster finance through multiple wildfires, and the pandemic has been critical, and your efforts have been recognized by the State Controller's Office and the Government Finance Officers Association. And Sheriff Martin, I don't know what to say other than that we go way back, don't we? Your calm, steady leadership during the most difficult times has helped not just Lake County, but you helped my office and me face the challenges that were ahead of us. You were always on the phone the minute I needed you, and you would tell me like it was. And you are a dedicated servant, and better yet, I hope, a longtime friend. I cannot thank you all enough for your continued support to Lake County and the state of California. I will miss you all, but excited for your well-deserved retirement. And just don't go too far, okay? Again, thank you for your service to your community, our community, and congratulations to all, and best wishes always. Hope to see you all soon.
All right, so Sheriff Martin, Mickey, Kathy, and Barbara, if you can come up and take one last picture with all of us, and we can go forward from there, I think with the lunch, right? Yeah.
Are we going down there?
I don't know. Yeah, we should. Got it.
Okay, so I'm going to do several here. So I'm going to first use this camera. One more. Okay. We'll put this one on social media. All right. You ready? Here we go. Okay, one more. And is there something, maybe goodbye, hello, new life? Smile. Cool, great, thank you. One more. Yes. One more over here.
All right. I didn't bring my selfie stick, sorry.
That was good.
I'm going to give you guys all air hugs. Don't get close.
All right.
There will be a reception here as soon as the chair decides to break for lunch. So please, those that have been invited, please stay. The department heads, departments of those that are retiring, and special guests as well.
So it looks like we'll go ahead and start that now since it's 12:30, and that way we can come back at 1:30 for the agenda. So with that, we'll go ahead and break for lunch, and at 1:30 we will continue where we left off with item 6.4, I think it is, but yep, that's what I thought. All right, see you after lunch. looks cool. I don't know.
Hey, you're back to work.
We have the continuance of the hearings. It's going to be the use.